Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Great to be with you. Thanks for tuning in to us. We appreciate your time. Always a pleasure. It's Balls McWednesday. Let's get after it. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online. ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming, free always. If you miss portions of the show, go back, get caught up at your leisure. We'll post it all 3 hours, in fact, as soon as it ends, both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. You can email us if you like. It's JCS at 979ESPNradio.com. On Twitter, it's at JCameron Show. WTSM app, good for your mobile devices. And you can watch the show typically. These days, you're going to listen to it if you go to YouTube instead of watch. But we'll get back to the video portion of that someday. Probably sometime next week a little bit. All right, you guys doing well out there? Everybody okay? That momentum's not slowing down, is it? I mean, we all sit around today waiting on news from the NCAA and meetings and votes as to when it is that players can resume being on campus and get involved in voluntary workouts, that sort of thing. I do have some news here. It's not big news, just a little heads up to you this Friday. So a couple days from right now, we'll have head coach Mike Norvell on the show. He'll be joining us in the first hour of the program on Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock. So I look forward to talking to Coach Norvell. It's been an interesting, certainly different than any other offseason I can think of time in Florida State football. It's that way across the country, though. It's just a different set of challenges and circumstances that befall a new head coach and his staff that, caused by a worldwide pandemic. Didn't see that one coming, did you, Coach? That's a toughie for a guy who plans meticulously, who is as aware of and constant in regards to attention to detail as anybody that I've read about or heard of. I don't know the man all that well. I've had a chance to talk to him several times since he's become head coach, but that's not exactly getting to know somebody. That's just sort of breaking ground there, breaking the surface. But from what you can tell, buttoned up, organized, very organized. And this kind of obviously puts a crimp in your style when you got to deal with a pandemic and you don't have access to your team that you're trying to transform from being a certain way, that is to say bad, poor, soft, sorry, to another way, victorious, disciplined, smart, tough. And then this happens. And so, I don't know. I just thought it would be sort of a State of the Union. Coach, anything that should be on our radars, and we may get big news between this time and that time. Hell, it could happen today on the show, that we have some specific times and dates regarding players back on campuses.
Yeah, things are leaning that way in the discussion. That June 1st, June 8th are both dates that have been thrown out. You see national reports from the Dennis Dodds or Adam Rittenbergs of the world for CBS and ESPN respectively, and then also local team sites. That Monday, June 1st, it's a very clean date for a lot of things, both politically and in sports and in business. That's just as clean as it gets. Monday, June 1st is a potential day for students to return to campus. And that's a big deal because if students can come back on, and by that I mean student athletes, if they can come back on campus, go through their own self-quarantine period of a week, 14 days, then they can do voluntary workouts together, which would be the precursor to what? An organized team activity. Perhaps a second spring football that happens in July or August, where you get some practices together before fall camp begins in earnest. But you got to have the dominoes lined up, and this would be a huge one to fall. The NCAA making a decision, and make no mistake, it's the NCAA, not a conference, making a decision that players can, in fact, report back to campus at some point in June.
Speaking of the conference, there is news within the ACC, and that is Miami Hurricanes president expects football to happen without fans this year. He's already come out on the record expecting that they are A, going to play. That's the first revelation. Does believe that's going to happen. And then B, it's going to happen without fans. I don't know if it means completely empty stadiums or not. Miami situation is different. They don't have an on-campus stadium, of course. They're unique in a lot of ways. They don't have a real football facility that would turn your head, and they certainly have a shortened indoor practice facility, 50 to 70 yards, whatever that is.
I don't know if that's safe. We need to distance a little bit more and actually have a full football
so
field.
small.
That might not be a safe facility.
Space. And, they don't have to worry too much about attendance, generally speaking, also, because that's not an issue for them in terms of people being at the game. So,
right,
you have a lot of things that are different about Miami.
Most circumstances, you say he's at the 35, and you're like, well, which one? I said, well, no, that's midfield. The 35 is right at midfield.
All of that said, Miami Hurricanes president does believe that it's going to take place. It's going to happen. Quote, "We hope to have a season, and we hope to have a winning season," says Julio Frink. All right, Julio. I hear you. We too hope to have a season, and a winning one at that. That's something we share.
Gene Smith held what seems to be a preemptive press conference today at 2 o'clock. Odd timing.
Yeah, it was strange to do so.
So Gene Smith from Ohio State, you remember him sitting on the dais next to Urban Meyer as they were shamed and then exonerated in the same press conference?
Acquiescing to Urban Meyer's petulance, sure.
Oh, man. And did Urban give him the stink eye like he gave everybody in the room?
Bitch-ass Urban Meyer.
Yeah, that's indeed right.
Yeah.
Bucknuts.com today on the 24/7
All right,
Sports Network.
Bucknuts!
They reported that June 8th is Ohio State's target date. And Gene Smith, apparently, according to Bucknuts.com, did confirm that today in the 10 a.m. hour.
Can't say it enough. Thank goodness for Bucknuts. By the way, speaking of football-related material and how it pertains to getting back on the field with an eye towards getting back on said field during a pandemic, the NFL is working on a helmet face guard, Tom, that might provide the same sort of protection as a surgical mask. Atlanta Falcons president Rich McKay, you guys remember Rich McKay from his days in Tampa, heads up the league's competition committee, said the issue was raised during conference calls. Quote, "A lot of players have played with a clear shield to protect their eyes over the years, and this would be extended even further." Tom Mayer, who's the medical director of the NFL Players Association, said league engineers and sports equipment company Oakley are testing prototypes of a modified face mask that might contain surgical or N95-like material. I'd suggested that we could consider novel and emerging ways to handle the elements in the face masks and the spread of the virus, said Meyer. He did a podcast with Adam Schefter in which this was revealed. These guys got the bit between their teeth, is what he said.
With Adam Schefter, my assumption would be then it was approved that the NFL wanted this particular avail to happen.
Adam Schefter does a fine job of covering the ins and outs, the day-to-day stories of the National Football League. But I must tell you, never having heard his podcast, and I typically don't take shots at my brethren in the broadcasting business all that frequently, especially not ones that I respect, at least in terms of work ethic. Yes, you're right, Tom. As you chuckle.
Say, morning drive.
I've mentioned some things before. You're correct. Maybe I should go back on that previous statement. That said, Adam Schefter is not exactly riveting to listen to hear speak, to engage with, maybe on your jog or your morning walk. It's not Adam Schefter you're turning to because you'd go back into the bedroom and fall fast asleep had you not gotten a good night's sleep. Adam could put you to sleep.
So there is it's like an editor in our audio software that can take audio and make it sound like different things. One thing, for example, would be like a voicemail. You can make it sound like you're leaving a voicemail even though you're talking to the microphone. There's another one that can take you from male sounding to female sounding and back and forth. And where I'm going with this is Adam Schefter and Susie Kolber sound the same. It's just one has the male tenor to the voice and one has the female tenor. When they're talking with each other, they sound like they're from the same family. And also, Ian Rappaport sounds exactly like Schefter. Clearly, he went to the Adam Schefter school of how to deliver in a broadcast setting. If you listen to the pace, the tenor,
it's a good
the
point.
tone,
I had never
they
thought
sound
about
exactly the same.
Either one of those observations. You locked in to tone, obviously,
I
whenever
listen to
it
voices
is.
too much.
Apparently, thank goodness I sound like neither of them. You'd go crazy.
Plus my 4 imaginary friends.
I mean, it's I like listening to Susie. I like everything about Susie. After all these years.
Susie's had a career, man.
Pro's pro. She's kept it together for a very long time. It's amazing to think about. I'm just saying. It's amazing to think about. I got a good story today that involves us having to walk the line there, where you get nervous because I'm talking about things that might be inappropriate. But it's I
appreciate being forewarned.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, it's about Kentucky cheerleaders.
Oh, I saw that.
Oh, what a good story that is.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so we'll have fun with that later.
Cut myself off.
So they're going to work on a new face guard there for the football players in the National Football Leagues, and I imagine that could be something. I don't know, maybe that could be designed and allowed for college football players in due time. The company's developed durable eyeglasses for the military. Do they have an eagle? When you put them on, do you see an omnipresent American eagle with the flag waving in the background? They're designed not to fog up. You got to have a clear picture of that eagle. That technology may prove useful in its latest project.
What kind of shirt do you want to wear in that commercial, Hal? I'd prefer a military green T-shirt, please.
Tight around the arms. Do we have a picture of the eagle that we're going to use along with the waving American flag?
Let me guess. You would like the Hummer Jeep vehicle and some boots.
They've got prototypes, Mayer told Schefter, in what could have been a riveting conversation, but likely wasn't. Some of them, when you first look at them, you think, gosh, no, because you're not used to seeing it. You're just not used to seeing it. But they're looking at every issue you can imagine, including when it fogs up. What do we do when it fogs up? The gentleman continued. Oh, my God. See, Tom?
Yeah, it's the humidifier. That's what it is.
Yeah.
You know the craziest thing about those commercials? They should just up and say it. See, right now you can't spot the terrorist insurgent in the bushes, but with the dry tack glasses,
with our blue blocking technology,
there he is, polarized lenses and all. There's the terrorist. You saved America.
Yeah. I also like when
it's literally a guy in the bushes with a gun.
I know. I do like when my man's driving down the road and the sun's coming through and he's devastated. And as soon as he puts on his polarized lenses with the American eagle and the flag waving in the background as he does, he sees that semi nearly about to hit him head on. I'm like, my man, you shouldn't be driving if you couldn't catch wind of that semi.
It's like that Toyota commercial where they have everybody singing the song and it's like they're all weaving in and out of the lanes and it's like the car's got you. It's like, well, it's really not that hard to stay in your lane. The one thing that they didn't sell very well, though, with the glasses, remember they had like the drop-down visor.
Oh, yeah.
That was like on your car's visor. You don't see the commercials for that anymore. I don't think they sold very many of those units.
They looked awkward.
They looked ridiculous.
Well, so do the glasses.
But it looked like those, by contrast, look like the glasses you get when your eyes are dilated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know those tearaway paper
when they
ones?
go in there, yeah. Oh, I forgot about that stuff, yeah. I was just thinking, though, by the way, to harken back to something I said at the beginning of the segment, I'm excited to talk to Coach Norvell. I don't think he has a ton to update us on necessarily, and he can't talk specifically about certain recruits, right? I mean, like the Knowles kid, he can't talk about that.
Correct, yeah.
But I am going to ask about the methodology. You're absolutely right. It is a trying time across the board, but it'll be good to talk with him. That's this Friday at 3 o'clock, brought to you by Barano Heating and Air Conditioning.
I'm sure there are dead period protocols where, the kid can call you and then you can have conversations.
There are.
Set up
he revealed that the last time he spoke on the Jeff Cameron
show.
show.
Maybe that's what you use as the basis for, because this is technically also the dead period. They're just extending it into a non-traditional time in the calendar year.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, when you're trying to create relationships from scratch, when you're trying to evaluate kids for the first time that you normally would see either on a tour of jamborees or they come up here for camps, I mean, when you have to look at a kid for the first time on a YouTube clip or a Huddle clip, how do you say, yep, that's exactly what I'm looking for? I mean, when you determine what offers are going out, that's got to be a weird process.
It does have to be weird, and I don't know. I worry how effective we can be right now in the world of recruiting. I know people are taking that worry to the nth degree, so much so that you've seen this debate on the message boards, and Ira wrote the column about now's not the time to be worried about it. I do understand. Again, I talked about this 2 days ago. I certainly understand that when you look up recruiting rankings and you had some mild concerns about the staff makeup and their ability to make an instant impact in recruiting in the state of Florida to begin with, if that in that guise in that light. And then you see us behind the likes of Boston College, sweet Jesus, it's Boston College, Iowa State, amongst others. You do get a little concerned. But again, not enough for me to freak out and start to ostracize and think this staff has no chance.
The number one thing I'd say to that is if you wanted 16 or 18 commits right now, they'd all be 2 and 3 stars.
Yeah.
Because of where the program is. So would you rather have that and then tell all those kids to go away at the last second? This is probably the more reasonable way to go.
Yeah, I think it's smart. It's Jeff Gabbert, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops with their Memorial Day sale happening May 22nd through the 25th. All Nike golf shoes are 25% off. Score an epic deal on Callaway's Epic Flash Driver, now only $349. Save big with the G400 driver, now only $249. Remember, the more you buy, the more you save, and receive up to 25% off all apparel. Edwin Watts Golf Shops Memorial Day sale happening May 22nd and May 25th. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee, serving golfers since 1968.
Hey guys, how are you? This is Eddie from Gordo's Restaurants and Bumpers Local 349. I just want to let you guys know that we here in the local community love to have you back. It's 25%, we know, but we're doing the best that we can to serve you and do what we do the way we do it. Same great food, a little bit more space. And we're not the only ones. There's lots of local restaurants out there. Just remember, eat local, drink local, be local. Come see us.
O'Reilly. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, pick up 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for $28.95 and get a $10 O'Reilly gift card by mail. Protect your engine from sludge and wear with Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey, everybody, it's good news, and we could use some good news right about now. Getting family dinners to go with curbside pickup at Bumpers, well, it's easy to do, and it's all day, every day. You're going to want to pay with a credit card, bring your own PIN to sign the receipt, and they want to thank you, so do I, for supporting your local restaurants when they need it most. By the way, if you call, it's 850-999-8652. And here's Rick Pitino to give you the menu items.
Pasta alla vodka. You get chicken, garlic bread, and it's a nice round price. Secondly, you got 20 wings. You got chicken fingers too, fries, onion rings on the side. Nice, also good for the family of 4. 2 racks of ribs with mac and cheese and broccoli. You could sub in some fries or rings if you want instead too, but those racks of ribs, absolutely delicious. Just beautiful.
Or you can order, Rick, from the regular menu. It's bumpers349.com.
The whole shebang.
Not all law firms are equal, so here's why Fonville Lewis Mesher McConaughey was recently voted Tallahassee's best law firm. First, we only take real cases. If your car was barely bumped and you think you're going to get rich, we're not the firm for you. We limit our practice to serious cases with legitimate claims. Second, we only take cases involving real injuries. If you know you aren't hurt but think you can fool your way into a quick settlement, we're not the firm for you. We encourage our clients to heal up and get better, not sit on the couch and expect a windfall. Third, we don't want clients who are just in it for the money. If the very first thing you think of after getting hurt is calling pound something or other on your cell phone instead of calling 911, we're not the firm for you. Your health should always come first. And finally, we won't blow smoke about a big money outcome just to get your case. Other firms overpromise and underdeliver. Our only promise is that we'll work harder than anyone to get you the best result. Remember, the law firm you have representing you makes all the difference, so don't settle for less. Call Fonville Lewis Mesher McConaughey and let us put our reputation to work for you.
At Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, we are open and ready for business. It's our huge Memorial Day weekend sale. We can't be stopped celebrating these deals. New cars with a baffling 0.9% APR for 84 months. May is also Ram Truck Month with outrageous discounts up to $11,000 off MSRP on some remaining 2019 Rams. Cash in on our Detroit Special. Employee pricing on 2020 Wranglers and Gladiators. And pocket these never-before-offered mind-blowing savings. Receive 0% for 72 months on almost a dozen models. And save thousands. These savings are shocking. Our first responders program will get you an extra $500 this weekend only. We are so proud of our healthcare professionals. We are offering the same $500 to all of you as well. Only at Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram on the corner of Capitol Circle and West Tennessee. We're right on the corner and always right on the price. Must qualify through Chrysler Credit for special financing. All rebates, incentives apply, plus tax, tag, and dealer fee.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
So this is how it happens, all right? It's a celebrity poker tournament, and if you thought to yourself that John Hamm enters a chat room with Hambone in the house, you'd be correct. I show up at the table. Cards are being dealt, but there's only one person betting. So what's happening is, as this moves around the table and everyone's time runs out, Stugotz just keeps getting the money. Every time he bets, the money comes from Stugotz. So he's slowly bleeding people who are having trouble getting in the room. And I'm on the Skype, and I'm watching these people, and they're saying, I'm trying to get in, I can't get in. And I'm yelling at Stugotz in the chat room, Stugotz, stop taking everybody's money. We don't know these people. And Stugotz's chip total ended up at 12,000 before the thing even got started, while everyone else was starting at 8,000 because he'd stolen so much of their money. And he still finished last.
The Dan Le Batard Show, weekdays at 10 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio. This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
I just saw this during the break time, and I thought you would view this as a reason to fight the man. Novak Djokovic has said that he believes he will surpass Roger Federer as the all-time greatest player and win more Grand Slam titles, and stay number one for longer, the whole kit and caboodle, Bobby. How about my man?
Well, Novak, you got to keep it between the goalposts for that entire time. Let's see if you have the longevity to handle the pressures and to do so at a greater rate than Roger Federer.
He says, I do. I can win the most slams, break the record for longest number one. Those are my clear goals, he went on to say. So
I would also offer this to Novak. You've had an easier road. You've been facing the same two people, and they've been aging for years and years and years. Where is your young rival, Novak? Where is your own version of the Joker to come get you? Hasn't shown up. Hasn't been there. It's been Federer all along.
Indeed. I've been too busy dispatching of any of the upstarts to notice, so I've had to face who I've had to face. None of them can consistently raise their level of play like your hero, who I now routinely beat each time I see him. I understand.
Boy, but if Federer just had an aging Pete Sampras to deal with and a geriatric Andre Agassi at the time, he might have 35 slams at this point.
What he does have, though, is a really pretty cool thing when you consider that if you're a tennis fan, and I know, second segment, 3 o'clock hour, Jeff, we're going there. Sorry, I started down this path. I got to finish it up here, at least for the segment.
And you challenged Fed.
I did. Federer has 20. Nadal has 19. Djokovic has 17. They've combined to win 56 of the last 66 slams. So a couple things here. First of all, you bums, not those three, the rest of you in tennis, get off your ass. Every now and again, somebody rise up, not named Djokovic, Nadal, or Federer, and get to a final and win one.
Fed had some classic five-setters in 2009. What are we doing here?
It's just nuts.
Sad.
Well, every time we get into this topic, I shouldn't do it because it is a sport I like that not too many people listening to this show care to hear me speak about. I don't suppose. I don't know. But there is that little warning siren I hear in my head when I start to talk about things that I think maybe only I'm interested in. And sometimes it works if I'm able to do it in an entertaining fashion. But other times it's just a warning telling me radios are being turned off right now, buddy. That's what's happening.
The phone lines are lighting up.
But I honestly, you can always, after you get a tacit understanding, sort of a feel for, we're in the weeds here, man. Nobody's listening to this. Other times I think, I don't care. You're coming along for the ride. This is a fun conversation. But here's the thing with tennis. Every time I bring it up, I'm passionate about it, but I don't think I can sway people. I don't think I can get them over on my side. I think I have a bit of a chance of entertaining you with talks of archaeology and things like that than I do of the next great American tennis player, which is the subject that I'd like to segue to, which is where is he? Where is this man, the next great American tennis star? I'm being jingoistic. You're damn right I am. Where is the American power in tennis Forever it existed. Whether we're talking about Connors or McEnroe or the aforementioned Agassi and Sampras, we had it. Nowhere to be found. Nowhere.
He's in the AA system of the Oakland A's because he didn't think tennis was cool as a kid.
Screw him. Come on. One of you guys, somebody step up and get great here. Listen, Florida State's had some really entertaining guys, and I get it. We're not the preeminent tennis program in college to speak of.
But we're not a slouch.
We're not a slouch. I want to find that guy. It just, and hell, just for the betterment of tennis, somebody has to challenge these three. That said, we've had a lot of conversations lately about all-time greats and eras and nostalgia and things that we look back on and games we rewatch and perspectives that are gained during a time of a pandemic where all you have are older games, replays, seasons, whatever it might be, to draw from. And I think back to that golden era, as I call it, of tennis, where it was really represented so excellently by so many people, whether it's Stefan Edberg, who was not American, whether it's Mats Wilander, Bjorn Borg, obviously, I go everywhere. We go all the way out to Australia with Pat Cash, all these different guys. Michael Chang, American. You go on down the list of guys, Jim Courier. It was so fun for the longest. I'm bored with these three. Now, I get it. We're lucky to have sat through an era where you saw three guys break records. They're first, second, and third on the all-time career Grand Slam list. That's ridiculous. When Sampras retired, I can remember McEnroe talking about, will anybody ever catch him? Yeah, three guys. They're all going to play in the same era, and they're going to dominate tennis in a way that nobody before or since ever has. That's crazy. That is nuts.
Yeah, it's kind of like Brady, Manning, and Breeze. And I don't mean for the records because the game is much different than it used to be in the way that passing is officiated and receiving versus playing quarterback. But, you get spoiled when three of the all-time greats, three of the top 10 that ever played the game are all coexisting. So much so that Breeze doesn't get a lot of run when Brady and Manning are doing their thing year in and year out. Like, Breeze was a sideshow story. To say nothing of Ben Roethlisberger or Phillip Rivers. It's crazy to think. Play in any other era, and you're going to get a lot more run than if you played in the era with Brady and Manning.
By the way, if you look at the weeks at number one, which is kind of a really cool thing to watch over the years, where that is a true testament to excellence, to sustain your place at number one for longest stretches of a time. Roger Federer, has 310 weeks at number one. He's number one all time, and it's really not that close. The next closest is Pete Sampras. I don't know if a lot of people realize that at 286 weeks. That is insane. Being the best at something for 310 weeks, 286 weeks, it's nuts. Djokovic is third all time as having been number one in his career for 282 weeks. Seems like he'll catch Federer here at some point.
Probably, because the sport's dead. It dies with these three.
You know who's number four? Got a guess? My era, baby.
Ooh. Well, you love McEnroe.
It's not my hero. It's not Johnny Mac. I wish it were. Nope. Yvonne Lendl.
Oh, okay.
Yvonne Lendl brought a little something to the table.
Lendl curveball action.
Well, Yvonne Lendl. Number five is, I hate
Jimmy Connors?
Yeah. Hate his ass.
As soon as he went, I was like, I know who that is.
This freaking guy.
It's either Roseanne Barr or Jimmy Connors, and Roseanne didn't play tennis.
The only, good God, no chance she'd have died.
Well, but she has the noises down.
Oh, the worst. I can't. Stop. Her breathing is annoying. I couldn't deal with that. So, having said all of that, there is one last trivia before we move on, much to the delight of our listeners. Can you name the only other active player to top the charts as number one? And this is crazy. During the time of Federer, Djokovic, and Nadal? Outside of that triumvirate, who?
I'll bet you I could if I was thinking about tennis on a regular basis, but if you think about all the knowledge we're not sharp on because of this thing.
Yeah. I bet you'll get this. Give yourself a half a chance here, Tom.
I can't even think of another name right now. But I know who it is because I know this guy's won some Grand Slams.
Andy Murray.
Yeah.
Andy Murray spent 41 weeks at number one. And I don't know. Hey, listen, I don't blame you, buddy. I put you on the spot. I'm not real sure a lot of people would have gotten Andy Murray. By the way, Andy Murray has made... Oh, my God, Andy Murray has fallen off the edge of a cliff. My man is ranked in the hundreds.
Also, a heads up, I'll put it in this segment since we got tennis already. The Gretzky hat trick against Philadelphia that you cited on This Day in History. So they played it yesterday.
Did you watch it?
I had it on in the background while I was listening to a little bit of headlines. You know why they don't talk about Gretzky's hat trick?
Was it lucky?
Yeah, the first goal is a guy shooting it into the zone on a power play. It hits off the glass stanchion right to the front of that Gretzky, backhander goal. So it's pure luck. The second one goes off a defenseman's skate from behind the net into the goal.
Well, that's just a good shot, Tom.
And the third one, it goes off the goalie's glove, and it was a soft... I mean, it was one of those, and wow! It wasn't...
Right.
Yes, the dominance of Wayne Gretzky. Right. It was, wow, look at that!
It wasn't one of the all-time great efforts.
That's why it isn't, etched in the mind of people who watch it. They're like, oh, well, that's kind of BS.
As an aside, as we part here for a second, I do want to throw this out here, because I just pulled it up for giggles. I wanted to see, how much money do you think, in prize money, not endorsements, in prize money, that Andy Murray... The only other guy on this list that's ever been ranked number one during the era of Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic. How much money do you think he's won?
$74 million.
$61,544,000. Sweet Jesus. There's your incentive, American-born tennis players. Get off your ass. Look at that. You can be a slappy like Andy Murray and make $61 million. It's all relative. Andy Murray's not a slappy, but he is amongst the elite of the elite.
You could be a top 5 player of your generation. And
$61 million. Oh, that is something.
They had an opportunity to do something, didn't they? Right now? I guess maybe with the tennis balls, you got to be careful with the transmission of that.
I would have thought they'd play, but you're right. The tennis balls could be the problem. Well, no, it wouldn't. You could play in front of no fans. You could easily do it.
If you hit the off of your racket and you were the one serving and it hits the other guy in the chest, he has to run away.
This spring, I'm making everyday Earth Day by incorporating small actions that can create big results.
Like what?
Well, I'm starting with daily habits. Turning off the lights every time I leave a room, shutting off the tap when I brush my teeth, and unplugging electronics when I'm not using them.
Those are great ideas our whole family can do.
And since we're home more, I could also use your help with a few one-time projects that could benefit us long-term, like fixing water leaks and installing our rain barrel.
I'd love to help. Right after I call the City of Tallahassee Utilities at 891-4968 to sign up for paperless billing.
Excellent! Tonight, let's ask the kids if they have any ideas about what we can do to save energy, water, and money as we celebrate Earth Day at home.
2020 marks the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, and there are many things TLH can do to celebrate at home. Get inspiration at TLHCanDo.com. Small actions create big results. A message from the City of Tallahassee Utilities.
With a Bojangles 3-piece Chicken Supreme snack, you get a plate of bold, boneless chicken and a hot, fluffy, made-from-scratch biscuit for just $3.99. Or, if you'd rather 2 pieces of bone-in fried chicken with a biscuit and a fixin', don't you worry, because that's $3.99 too. It's such a good deal, you can knock out dinner and balance your budget in one fell swoop. Because if you're going to take out 2 birds with 1 stone, they ought to be delicious. Bojangles. It's bow time.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
AAA Tree Experts has been a Tallahassee staple for over 35 years. But did you know they now offer landscaping? AAA landscaping services include custom outdoor landscape, creative landscape design and architecture, hardscapes, waterscapes, retention walls, and French drains, irrigation and sodding, landscape and holiday lighting. Call them today for all your outdoor landscaping needs. 850-385-3319 or visit them online at AAA Tree AAATreeExperts.net. AAA Tree Experts and Landscaping.
This is Stacy on her motorcycle.
What an incredible view!
And this is Stacy off her motorcycle.
Does this have sucralose in it?
On her motorcycle.
Oh, the wind in my hair!
Off her motorcycle.
It's pronounced etc., not etc.
On.
Woohoo! Yes!
Off.
No.
You're better on your bike. And with basic policy starting at $75 a year, quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Annual premium for basic liability policy not available in all states.
Tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops with their Memorial Day sale happening May 22nd through the 25th. All Nike golf shoes are 25% off. Score an epic deal on Callaway's Epic Flash Driver, now only $349. Save big with the G400 driver, now only $249. Remember, the more you buy, the more you save, and receive up to 25% off all apparel. Edwin Watts Golf Shops Memorial Day sale happening May 22nd and May 25th. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee, serving golfers since 1968.
It's time to unite, Tallahassee. After years of our great local restaurants serving us, it's our turn to serve them. With this simple purchase of gift cards, we can help them survive the financial toll of COVID-19. Buy them for yourself, your family, or as gifts. No doubt we'll all have a reason to go out and celebrate soon as we safely can. Go to hungertohelp.com and show your support for the heart of our community today. This message brought to you in part by your local Tallahassee radio broadcasters.
Escúchame, it is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Let me tell you, I feel badly for Larry Jordan. I mean, first of all, your brother's Michael Jordan. Second of all, your name's Larry. Like, there aren't very many names, Stugotz, that I could give you. Larry Jordan has appeared for like 7 seconds in this documentary, and I'm sure they talked to him for hours, but that's what it's like, being Larry Jordan.
Entire life.
It's got to be terrible, right? I mean, I guess it's great if you got a good relationship with your brother.
Did Jordan have anything nice to say about Larry Jordan?
I didn't hear anything nice about Larry Jordan. I was just surprised Larry Jordan got dressed up, did the interview. I'm sure spent a lot of time talking to them, and then they used 2 very short clips that merely allowed me to look at him and say, man, it must stink to be Michael Jordan's brother and be named Larry.
The Dan Le Batard Show, weekdays at 10 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios in Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
As far as being Larry Jordan goes, I think it'd be all right because he would accidentally give you a few $1 million to get by, I would think.
I would hope so. Hopefully things weren't so competitive that he's not going to give you a dime.
I think Mike's probably taking care of Larry. And if he hasn't taken care of Larry, he's taking care of his mama, who could in turn take care of Larry.
Yeah. That was my thought, is that he's going to get some money from...
He's going to get stuff from mom. So, like, Mike sends him $10,000. He's worth close to, $2 billion. He gives Larry $10,000. Mom, can you help me out at Christmas this year? Michael's not giving me any money.
Sure, son. Here's $1.5 million.
It's nothing. It's what I get monthly from Mike. I'll give you next month's $1 million. Yeah, that wouldn't suck.
That go? Of course you're going to take care of your parents because they took care of you, but
Sure.
like, what do you have a right to ask for as a parent?
I don't think you have. Well, I don't know how you clearly define a right to ask for, but I don't think I wouldn't ask my kids for anything. I hope they do it, but I wouldn't ask them for anything. I mean, maybe after a year of not getting anything, say Price has $100 million for whatever reason, patent something. And, oh, good, son, $100 million. That's amazing. Your generations of your family will never have to worry.
Of our family. Be careful.
Ever
PR firm always spinning.
Yeah. Never have to worry about anything ever again. That's awesome. And the opportunity to see the world with people you love. Boy, what a great opportunity that is, isn't it, son? My goodness. They tell me Greece is amazing. Just let it linger there for a moment.
Right.
Yeah, just to see where that goes.
And then magically, next time he visits home, you'd have a bulletin board with my dream house. And it's just like it's got locations.
Well, you'd have to be, if you're trying to dupe them even a little bit, it would have to be like you pretend to pick up a magazine to thumb through while you're waiting to go out to dinner, and you had inserted a picture of your dream home in the magazine to make it look like it was part of it. And then, well, this house is extraordinary. Come look at this house. Look, have you ever seen anything that looks like... I've always wanted something that looks exactly like this house. It's a good-looking house. Says it's in California. And you're just flipping the paper. Where? Santa Barbara?
Hun, the salt air would be so great for you, just to help you with your breathing, help me with my breathing, I think it prolongs my life. They say if you're born around the water, you need to be around the water to live longer. And, I just like being here for my grandkids and my children. That's all. That's what I'm here for.
Provide stability, wisdom that comes with age.
Even if it's on a different coast, I'm here.
Let's say I was in Santa Barbara in a house that looked like that. I could always be reached. I would be always there for you.
And then just the quiet nod, looking right at him.
The Division I Council, that would be the NCAA Division I Council, has voted to approve voluntary athletic activities in football, men and women's basketball, to start June the 1st. So there we have it, folks. There we have it. And go through June 30th. There had been a moratorium on that through May 31st. Other sports will be acted upon at a later date. That's where we're at. Again, that's breaking news today. The NCAA Division I Council has voted to approve voluntary athletic activities in football, basketball, men's and women's, to start on June the 1st. Thought it was June the 1st, June the 8th. It was debated, all that. But now we know it's June the 1st, so there we go.
Different universities might have different start dates to make these things happen, and obviously you want to get kids on campus and then put them at a distance from each other so that the amount of time passes by where we know that they're A-okay and ready to go. But here's the really positive thing for me, hearing that news, and I hope it expands to more sports really soon. It's not necessarily about that increases the likelihood of football starting on time. It's about there are a lot of kids who go home to less means. Right? Fewer
means.
That is correct,
yes.
This gets them on campus and gets them doing two things. Number one, working out with trained supervisors and good equipment. I would think that happens starting soon. It might be that they can't go with all their teammates to the weight room, but I would think you could probably start scheduling things at the university facility sooner than later. Maybe not June 1st, but pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets them on the meal plan. This is good. This is good.
We've talked a lot about that ever since this happened, that some of the things not thought about, really not on the surface of the things that you're talking about or thinking about on a daily basis, did involve those that don't have access or don't have means, and what that means for them being sent home, being away from a university or a program that can certainly help guide them and help them, but also nourish them. And you're exactly right. We wondered how that was going to take place.
Now, I'm assuming they would be put on the meal plan, but why would you come back to campus if they couldn't feed you, right? I mean, I would think,
wouldn't, Tom.
Yeah. So
you wouldn't. But that's what's happening now. So now we don't, the one thing yesterday, so, okay, I'll just say this, and you'll be hearing me talk about this off and on, but my house is about to get ripped up. I'm putting new floors in. And so, anyhow, long story short, I'm going through a lot of things these days.
I think a lot of people are doing the renovation thing on the exterior or interior or the projects, all that kind of stuff right now. Trying to stay busy.
Well, and we've been wanting to do it for a long time, and so it's I guess it's time. But Flooring America, I'll be talking about them down the road. They're doing it. They're coming in, and I'm going through a lot of stuff, and I find a lot of things that make me smile. It's another part of this that I actually enjoy because while I don't take great solace in having my floors ripped up and, having to kind of have staging areas in different parts of the house and all that.
So are you and the family physically moving the things out?
Oh, buddy, yes. I've got a giant pod in the front yard. It's just a whole to-do. Yesterday I spent a lot of time when I wasn't doing the show lifting heavy boxes and transporting them out into the pod and then coming back in and grabbing more heavy boxes and doing the same and just taking instruction from my wife and at some point cracking a beer while I did that, which just allows you to numb yourself enough to be able to continue to stock the pod.
Well, I think the good thing is, I mean, maybe this is a prediction, but I would predict that when the pod comes back and you can put the stuff back into the house on the new floor, it's the things that you do keep. You'll be in even better shape because maybe you'll have done some working out in between.
I did some working out in between all that. Yeah, I got it. Yeah, listen, that's something else to talk about real soon. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but, some gyms are open already. Some have new rules. I know that Orange Theory is getting ready to open back up. So there's a lot of things that I'm very excited about. But I say all this to say this, not just to, drop some sponsor love, but also because, honestly, going back through the sports memorabilia, the things that we've collected over the years of covering sports and doing this show, it reminded me of something that I saw yesterday, and I now wonder, because I had dismissed any likelihood of this happening. I suppose I probably still should, so I say this somewhat tongue-in-cheek, but any chance July's ACC meetings and media days are going to happen in Charlotte, buddy?
Absolutely not.
I know, but I wanted to hold out a little bit of hope.
Not with our presence. They may all do Zoom calls, and then they'll set it up like a go-to meeting or a Zoom call where everybody has a specified time. But I, as much as the W would like that business in downtown Charlotte, I don't know that they're going to get that business.
Well, and you had that cool place you rented out the last time we were
screw
there.
You to the W.
You did. Well, that was just because you were late to the party.
Also, it was cheaper than the room rate would have been, even for the media.
Yeah, I liked your room. It was a good room.
It was nice.
It was a nice place that person
A little
had.
flat,
A little flat, overlooking Charlotte. I like Charlotte. There's a lot to like about Charlotte.
There is, yes. I think 15th, 16th floor, so good view. Had the sunrise in the morning. Told me, hey, man, time to
get your ass
that
out of
Guinness
bed.
may have been tasty. You need to get out of bed.
Well, and that's what we miss, man. We miss the opportunity to gather with friends and media members to talk about the league, the teams, the goings-on at a nice Irish bar with a cold Guinness. Good times.
I haven't had a Guinness in some time.
Oh, buddy, I just introduced the idea, and now you're stuck. Guarantee you have one today or tomorrow.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, they're just so tasty when they hit your lips. What you going to do, man? It's just
They look so heavy, and yet they're not.
I will say, anyhow, this is real good news. This is, you find out that, all right, here we are again. To repeat, we've got a situation where Division I NCAA Council voting to approve voluntary athletic activities in football, men's and women's basketball, all to start on June the 1st, go through June the 30th. I started the show by talking about we're going to have Coach Norvell on the program on Friday. Here's something to talk to him about, and away we go.
So I guess what that would mean by extension is that on July 1st, team activities could begin. If the voluntary period ends on June 30th, that would mean that it's leading to something.
So I've wondered, and we've both talked about this a little bit, do you get back what you lost? Some teams were able to get almost through their spring practices. Others did not at all. We had 3, but schools like Baylor didn't have any.
Yeah.
They didn't get any. Do you get back the days that you missed?
I think the way it should work, as I have a cramp in my hamstring.
I don't hurt your feelings.
This is terrible.
Yeah, okay, well, don't worry about it.
I think the way it would work is you got to at least get your acclimation period back.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You can't let that. So let's say you had 6 to 8 practices remaining. Call it 8 for a simple number. You shouldn't have to waste 2 of those practices for an acclimation period that you already went through in spring. Like, that wouldn't be fair at all. So to me, I think it's simple math. However many practices you get for spring, whatever it is, 12, 15, you subtract what you actually did, you get those days back plus acclimation, and then you can stagger them however you like in conjunction with fall camp.
I don't disagree with that.
Which means Chubba Purdy's going to get some more practice time.
Well, we've tried to find the silver lining during these times, and I tend to think that one of the silver linings is the fact that Chubba didn't fall, because I've already bought into the legend of Chubba Purdy. So he didn't fall too far behind any of his cohorts, and so whether it's Rodemaker, as Tom calls him, Rodemaker.
The Rodemaker, yeah.
Okay, so he doesn't get a big head start. And I would have liked for him to have that time, but hey, as luck would have it, it didn't happen. So they're almost starting on even footing. And, again, James Blackman didn't get an opportunity to acclimate to this new offense and really get to run it in excess in any way. Also, the one day we were in pads, he looked terrible. That's an aside. I know, first day, I should leave it alone, but it just... the way it ended in the bowl and then the way that started, I went, okay, that's it.
That's what you've had to sit through COVID
I'm
with.
washing my hands. That's it. We're done. So that happened. And so I was all in on Chubba. And now, all right, come on down, Chubba. Let's go. Let's get to the battle.
The Rodemaker will see Chubba arrive on campus and go, "Oh, you ready?
Oh,
it's time.
It is time.
We're
Let's
both
get it
going to
on."
be better players by the end of this, and I assure you, you
Yeah.
will be on the bench
Well-
because the Rodemaker will start."
He works in the WWE.
That's right, the Rodemaker.
Chubba won't know what to make of that. Well,
When the smoke settles, when the dust clears.
He's wearing a cape.
This Sunday at Survivor Series, also known as Spring Fall Practice.
Oh, man.
The Rodemaker will take first-team reps.
He didn't look ready to take first-team reps. It was early. He looked like a kid who was just now getting his feet wet, and that was fun to watch. But it's a reminder that I hope that's not lost as well, which is to say, unprecedented access going all the way back to the 90s. You had to go back to the 90s to a time when I first broke into covering the program and doing the show, having the kind of access we had under Coach Bowden to be able to watch practice and the day-to-day operations. It hasn't happened since we entered the 2000s, basically, and this coaching staff allowed for it to be a go, and I'm very happy about that. It allows us to do a better show, to lend better insight, to have greater access to talk to players and coaches on a regular basis. And I hope that's not lost due to this, because safety precautions are going to have to be put in place. I don't know who's going to be able to go over there and cover practice the way that we were allowed to. You probably aren't. I mean, I don't know. Things could look very, very different by the time it all starts back up. But anybody who was credentialed media could go and cover the entirety of practices under this regime, under this staff, and I had already learned a lot. In just 3 days, had learned an awful lot. I also think it's really good for the program. I think it's really good for the staff. I think it's good for the kids. It's obviously great for fans of the program to be able to gauge, what progress and who's winning position battles, or at least what the consensus is, and also to hear from these kids, because you watch guys mature before your eyes. You watch guys grow, both in the way that they talk to the press, but also the way they compete.
Yeah, I think the hard part, you're going to have to do morning practices to stay out of the July heat if you're going to do some early practicing, making up for spring practice.
Yes, indeed.
Or it's going to have to be in the IPF. It's in the IPF, there's no way we're allowed in.
No, we won't be allowed in for that. I'm guessing that some of the things that they'll allow for, and we've talked a little bit about this, but you're just going to have to space out media in Dick Howser Stadium. I probably
put us down the third baseline at the top. Yeah. There's enough space there for maybe not everybody in every outlet, but you can have a representative for each outlet, maybe two.
Well, certainly ESPN Radio will be represented. I don't know about some of these other slappies that cover the program, but we'll be all right.
That's where the territorial nature of the beat comes into play. We usually stay away from that stuff, but if we get a seat or we don't, I'll send you.
Yeah.
Use your evaluative,
Yeah, I know. You'll be fine with that. Go, tell me what happened, Jeff.
That's all right. I trust you.
Yeah. Well, that's fine. As long as
you played the game.
As long as I'm not unseated by somebody who has not, say, been covering the team for 22 years. Right? I mean, I should probably pick my spot. Maybe it's Deckerhoff than me.
Yeah, it's probably Deckerhoff. He could go in the tower, though, right? I mean, because he's on high.
They should gift that to him.
They should give him the Bowden Tower. I mean, that's only fitting.
Go for it.
He and Bobby were boys.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show. Coming up. Stay with us.
Fist to my face on the words you can't hear. You're the dream that I thought that
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachian Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less. Oh yes, you've thought about it, but now it's time to enjoy the moss-drenched live oak, rolling hills, and pristine greens of Southwood Golf Club. Our friends at Southwood Golf Club offer individual, family, and student memberships, and now offer the all-in membership. That's right, never pay a card fee when you play. Don't forget at Southwood Golf Club, it's not just about the golf. Hit the clubhouse for brunch, or maybe enjoy trivia night, live music, happy hour, and all-you-can-eat night specials too. For membership information or to join right now, just call 850-942-4653. Southwood Golf Club is ready to make you a member. 850-942-4653.
Attention Tallahassee, Phase 1 is Phase Patio at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill will be serving up the coldest, crispest refreshments and their signature delicious jumbo wings, all while adhering to responsible social distancing. You know this is the best time of the year to sit on the outdoor patio or deck, so make the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachia Parkway your first and most frequent stop for Phase Patio. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Order takeout today at cptallybar.com. That's cptallybar.com. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
With a Bojangles 3-piece chicken supreme snack, you get a plate of bold, boneless chicken and a hot, fluffy, made-from-scratch biscuit for just $3.99. Or, if you'd rather 2 pieces of bone-in fried chicken with a biscuit and a fixin', don't you worry, because that's $3.99 too. It's such a good deal, you can knock out dinner and balance your budget in one fell swoop. Because if you're going to take out 2 birds with 1 stone, they ought to be delicious. Bojangles. It's bow time.
Tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops with their Memorial Day sale happening May 22nd through the 25th. All Nike golf shoes are 25% off. Score an epic deal on Callaway's Epic Flash Driver, now only $349. Save big with the G400 driver, now only $249. Remember, the more you buy, the more you save, and receive up to 25% off all apparel. Edwin Watts Golf Shops Memorial Day sale happening May 22nd and May 25th. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee, serving golfers since 1968.
At Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, we are open and ready for business. It's our huge Memorial Day weekend sale. We can't be stopped celebrating these deals. New cars with a baffling 0.9% APR for 84 months. May is also Ram Truck Month with outrageous discounts, up to $11,000 off MSRP on some remaining 2019 Rams. Cash in on our Detroit special. Employee pricing on 2020 Wranglers and Gladiators. And pocket these never-before offered mind-blowing savings. Receive 0% for 72 months on almost a dozen models and save thousands. These savings are shocking. Our First Responders program will get you an extra $500 this weekend only. We are so proud of our healthcare professionals. We are offering the same $500 to all of you as well. Only at Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram on the corner of Capitol Circle and West Tennessee. We're right on the corner and always right on the price. Must qualify through Chrysler Credit for special financing. All rebates and incentives apply, plus tax tag and dealer fee.
The Florida Lottery has awarded nearly 900,000 Bright Future scholarships and counting. That means Bright Future scholars are everywhere.
They are doctors,
Teachers.
Scientists.
Even artists.
They are shining in every field imaginable. And every day, more students are preparing for their moment in the spotlight. With Bright Futures and the Florida Lottery.
Hey guys, how are you? This is Eddie from Gordo's Restaurants and Bumpa's Local 349. I just want to let you guys know that we here in the local community love to have you back. It's 25%, we know, but we're doing the best that we can to serve you and do what we do the way we do it. Same great food, a little bit more space. And we're not the only ones. There's lots of local restaurants out there. Just remember, eat local, drink local, be local. Come see us.
You've known for a while now that the best place to grab lunch in downtown Tallahassee is Metro Deli. But did you know that Metro Deli is now offering its own online grocery list? That's right. Head to MetroDeliTally.com today to check out all of the best offerings of meats, cheeses, breads, egg salad, tuna salad, signature dishes, and more from your friends at Metro Deli. Metro Deli, more than just a lunch shop, now your corner deli market. Head to MetroDeliTally.com today to support those who support local hospitality workers during the COVID-19 crisis.
Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios. This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
Oye, amigo, it is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
We've talked about this before. When a bank gives you $100,000 by mistake, do not go spend that money because you're going to get into a lot of trouble for it. But an Albuquerque teenager found $135,000 in cash next to an ATM. What would you do, Stugotz?
Finders keepers.
The Dan Le Batard Show, weekdays at 10 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios in Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thank you for tuning into the program. I'm Jeff. That is Tom. We are online, ESPNTallahassee.com. You also find us on YouTube, where you can hear the audio but not watch the video currently. You can also email us if you like, JCS at 979ESPNradio.com. And, of course, hello to all of you who are just listening traditionally via the radio. That still happens every afternoon. And a salute to all of you that transport goods, work hard out on the road there. I see the mailmen listening to the program and UPS drivers and the like. And, of course, those that are delivering food these days. There's a lot of that as well. So thanks for listening to us. The news of the day, fairly important, as it looks like student-athletes are making their way back to campus or will be allowed to. And will do so with voluntary workouts being available to them come June the 1st. That a significant step in the right direction if you're eager to see progress towards playing a college football season, some sort of college football season. I still wonder, don't know yet, nothing definitive. Things are changing so quickly, I'll hesitate to make sweeping judgments or statements about it, but I do wonder, will we have a fully realized season and schedule play out, meaning as is projected, like West Virginia. Is that game going to be played? If it is, where's it going to be played? Boise. We on the road for that game? We heading to Albertson Stadium in the Blue Field or not? Don't know. Seemed like an unlikely occurrence just, 2 weeks ago. We would have said almost definitively, oh, well, those games aren't going to be played. That's not going to happen. I'm not so sure anymore. It may be a little bit different looking. Maybe we're not able to attend, as in those games are not going to be something we're allowed to go to, but they still take place. You know, when we were talking about scholarships and the cost is different per sport. So to house and to feed and to clothe and to travel and all the things that are required for those under scholarship or on scholarship for football, it's very different than, say, for swimming or for softball or for track. And so the cost is different. So per scholarship, you're looking at, in some sports like basketball, over $100,000 per player, whereas in golf it might be considerably less, or tennis, it could be considerably less.
And then in baseball, you're dealing with a math problem because you got 11.7 or 11.8 scholarships to split across your entire roster. I don't even know how the hell you figure all that out with travel and books and housing and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, the way baseball figures it out is the kids that come from rich homes are begged not to take a full scholarship. Here, I'm going to give you a 0.2. That's what you get. Mom and Dad can house the rest.
Yeah, but now you've got such a huge talent pool potentially for next year. Yeah, that's another topic for another day.
Well, on this day, by the way, how's your cramp?
It's okay.
And I didn't say that like the way Michael Jordan says it when talking about Scottie Pippen. I meant it.
You didn't call me a hoe.
You actually had a cramp. I understand.
I talked through it quite literally last segment. It was bad. It was one of those things where I squeeze the chair, and it's such a place that it cuts off, I guess, the circulation to the hamstring. And I've been running and moving around and stuff, But I pounded some water. I did some stretches during the break, so hopefully it doesn't pop up again. It went up into the glute, man. That was no good.
We mentioned, that's never good. Cramps that start the hamstring, rise up into the glute, can be devastating. And that's a hop-along Cassidy moment.
And you could see the fear in my eyes because it was one of those that was building. It didn't just suddenly happen. You're like, here it comes, here it comes. And what am I talking about again? Florida State football?
Yeah. Overwhelming fear that strikes you when cramps make themselves known. Laying in bed, that calf starts to, you're like, no. You've got time to kind of beg and plead with your body. No, oh, damn it, no.
The middle of the night one is the scariest one because it comes out of nowhere.
And you lurch straight out of bed. You scare your partner. You're hopping all over the room.
But I would argue that the worst one is when you wake up and you're doing a full body stretch before you get out of bed.
Seize.
And then you realize you've opened the floodgates. And you're like, I can't do anything about this. It just becomes an, oh no, kind of a helpless, oh no.
Yeah. No, it's not good. Back to the football. Back to what's available and what's possible. And that is, frankly, let's just bring it home. Let's not talk about the rest of the country. We got plenty of time to talk about the rest of the country. But we're just talking about Florida State University, Florida State football. Funny, I never even finished my last story about floors and everything else. But what I was going to tell you is, as far as football goes, and guys returning and possibly having seasons, we're talking to Mike Norvell on Friday. He'll join us in the show at 3:00. I am going to be interested to hear what he has to say about this, but the good stuff here seems to be that June the 1st, we now know, has been voted on as a yes. That means student athletes will be returning to campus. There is going to be a meeting this week at Florida State, so it's already Wednesday.
Okay.
So here we go, man. This is all the fallout of the news about June the 1st availability.
So what does that mean, voluntary workout? I just read a paragraph, a key one, I think, in Yahoo Sports article. Fame will put this out.
Yes.
Asking some sources around the college game, Power 5, about what this means for the student athletes and what they can do. And what this person said that he supposed would happen is that 25 to 30 players would be broken up into groups, and that they would have, because what campuses are looking at now is the first players that they can integrate into these voluntary workouts are the ones that stayed on campus all along. And there is a certain population, a certain part of the roster that never left this town. They stayed whatever apartments they had, and here they've been.
Right.
So those are the ones that are the easy candidates to be integrated to on-campus life. What they're saying is that they're going to break up into socially acceptable groups in terms of count of numbers, that they can go into the facility and work out in the gym spaced evenly apart and abiding by the CDC guidelines and principles. I was wondering when this announcement first came down, what does a voluntary workout look like? Is that like you go to the practice field and you could do so and throw the ball around and work 7-on-7? Or is it actually getting into the gym? Because getting into the gym is the more important thing to me. All that time you've lost working out. I mean, yeah, I get it. With a new system, install is important. But if you can't do that with a coach looking over your shoulder, you probably need to shape your body and continue to shape it and make up what you've lost in these last 2 months. They can go into the gyms, according to this paragraph in Yahoo Sports. That's really important.
And it's especially important for guys who did not have access while they were away to any, within reason, equipment that is modern, ability to perfect the kind of exercises that Coach Storm is going to want them to do to maintain what's necessary at a level like this at Florida State. That's awfully hard to do on your own to begin with. You need not only the guidance and the tutelage of coaches at a big-time program like this, but you need the equipment. There aren't too many people. I mean, gyms were closed. You just didn't have access to this stuff. You couldn't do what was necessary to keep the weight on, to be able to perfect the exercise. It's different per segment group, and I really, they get a chance now to get back after it.
I suppose it's debatable, but for me, I just think rather than the game reps and the install reps, at this point, because they've been away from all of it, like the whole process of being a student athlete for 2 months, they're getting in the gym and those reps, getting what Coach Storms wants you to do rather than putting your car in neutral and trying to push it up a hill. That is going to be a hell of a lot more beneficial to them as they gear up for real team activities in the month of July, it looks like.
Well, it is. I can just picture it, for those hopping in their car, turning on the show, or, firing up the internet, wherever they are, getting to read that is a welcome sight, because it is, again, one of many steps towards resuming normal activities. And moreover, if you're really desperate, and I think a lot of people are, I'll give the caveat yet again. I understand we have to be very careful as we proceed. I understand that there's a lot that we don't know, and we got to follow the science. We got to look at the numbers, and there are more important things than sports. All of that is true. All of the things that we're talking about here, there's a bigger picture. But if you're just tuning in to a sports talk radio show and you're thinking about specifically Florida State football and whether or not you're going to see it in the fall, this news today, again, is another step towards that happening. It certainly seems that way.
Well, and in truth, too, a lot of states are having to look now at their governors saying, the NCAA's opened the door. Are you going to be okay with this? You don't have to worry about that here.
Well, no, he's made that abundantly clear.
He's made that abundantly
And we can
clear.
debate it and everything else, and plenty of people are, and I'm not making it political right now or having a debate about the coronavirus, but rather his state of mind and what he's made abundantly clear and where the state's at on the whole, because they're telling, the NBA's basically announced that they're about to be in Orlando. That's going to happen.
A lot of leaks today. A lot of leaks saying that it's some portion of what they're trying to do for the playoffs or whatever it is that they're going to launch is going to be at Disney World. Yeah.
NHL, anything further on that?
They're looking at Vegas now because the NBA might have claimed Orlando.
Okay.
Which is interesting. I think they could do that anywhere, man, along the border. The problem is that the border was shut down for another 30 days, so you need to get a provision for that if you're trying to do workouts and guys are going to have to travel back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting international players, you got players from Russia,
Sure,
Canada.
all over the world,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I keep monitoring the other sports as well. It does look like the NBA is pretty well set and about to move forward. If the Major League Baseball Union, Players Union, and owners, if they could get past the silliness, we'll see an 82-game season with them as well. Right now, it just hasn't been a good look for the players. They've been cast in a poor light. Some of that's intentional by the owners without question. Some of that is just they're playing hardball. But some of it's the players putting their foot in the mouth over and over again and really being tone deaf.
Well, and PR is half the battle when you're trying to do labor negotiations and execute them, right? There's a good article on Fangraphs about how the owners might be, and they are, in fact, rounding up quite a bit when they're talking about how much they could lose per game, maybe double counting, maybe forgetting to count certain things, and that's what the MLB Players Association is trying to combat. But if you're just talking about who wins the messaging right now, anytime a Blake Snell opens his mouth, it undercuts what the Players Association is trying to accomplish.
I'm sure the Players Association is telling their players, shut up. Stop talking. You sound like idiots. And you're unsympathetic. Not what we need at a time where a lot of people are desperate to watch a baseball game, and they don't think you're going to play because you want the total of your salary. You want your $10 million. It's just not going to play well. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Think it was the hottest day of the year.
Front Row Knowles, featuring Tom Block and Keith Jones, is brought to you by Hobson Chevrolet in Cairo, Georgia. Get your best deal the Hobson way. Catch Front Row Knowles every Wednesday night at 6, right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Barry knows school, he's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows school, you can put him to the test.
Your home has been a place of great comfort. We can help you keep it that way. Barno Heating and Air is helping you get ready for summer with $1,500 off select new units, 0% financing for qualified buyers, plus worry-free maintenance plans. Learn more or schedule online at BarnoAC.com. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Barno Heating and Air today. Florida license CAC 1816186.
Who's ready for the best wings in Tally and locally brewed beers? Hobbit American Grill is the place to be. They've been voted Tally's best wings again in 2018. Hobbit offers Bingo Mondays, happy hour all-day Fridays with craft beers on tap from all the local breweries. And the Hobbit is your home for all the UFC fights with plenty of high-def TVs for everyone. Be on the lookout for the food truck coming soon with the best lip-smacking wings in town. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving great food to great friends for good times. For info on their hours and 3 locations, visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
Need help moving? Two Men and a Truck Tallahassee provides professional home and business move services, both locally and long distance. For your next move, visit twomen.com or call them at 850-224-2232. Two Men and a Truck, the movers who care.
You've known for a while now that the best place to grab lunch in downtown Tallahassee is Metro Deli. But did you know that Metro Deli is now offering its own online grocery list? That's right. Head to MetroDeliTally.com today to check out all of the best offerings of meats, cheeses, breads, egg salad, tuna salad, signature dishes, and more from your friends at Metro Deli. Metro Deli, more than just a lunch shop, now your corner deli market. Head to MetroDeliTally.com today to support those who support local hospitality workers during the COVID-19 crisis.
This is Stacy on her motorcycle.
What an incredible view!
And this is Stacy off her motorcycle.
Does this have sucralose in it?
On her motorcycle.
Oh, the wind in my hair!
Off her motorcycle.
It's pronounced et cetera, not etc.
On.
Woohoo! Yes!
Off.
No.
You're better on your bike. And with basic policy starting at $75 a year, quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Annual premium for basic liability policy not available in all states.
It's time to unite Tallahassee. After years of our great local restaurants serving us, it's our turn to serve them. With this simple purchase of gift cards, we can help them survive the financial toll of COVID-19. Buy them for yourself, your family, or as gifts. No doubt we'll all have a reason to go out and celebrate soon as we safely can. Go to hungertohelp.com and show your support for the heart of our community today. This message brought to you in part by your local Tallahassee radio broadcasters.
With a Bojangles 3-piece chicken supreme snack, you get a plate of bold, boneless chicken and a hot, fluffy, made-from-scratch biscuit for just $3.99. Or, if you'd rather 2 pieces of bone-in fried chicken with a biscuit and a fixin', don't you worry, because that's $3.99 too. It's such a good deal, you can knock out dinner and balance your budget in one fell swoop. Because if you're going to take out 2 birds with 1 stone, they ought to be delicious. Bojangles. It's bow time.
This spring, I'm making Everyday Earth Day by incorporating small actions that can create big results.
Like what?
Well, I'm starting with daily habits. Turning off the lights every time I leave a room, shutting off the tap when I brush my teeth, and unplugging electronics when I'm not using them.
Those are great ideas our whole family can do.
And since we're home more, I could also use your help with a few one-time projects that could benefit us long-term, like fixing water leaks and installing our rain barrel.
I'd love to help. Right after I call the City of Tallahassee Utilities at 891-4968 to sign up for paperless billing.
Excellent! Tonight, let's ask the kids if they have any ideas about what we can do to save energy, water, and money as we celebrate Earth Day at home.
2020 marks the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, and there are many things TLH can do to celebrate at home. Get inspiration at TLHCanDo.com. Small actions create big results. A message from the City of Tallahassee Utilities.
Wash your hands, avoid sick people, and touching your face. There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. Brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Hope you're having a good Balls McWednesday. If you're up for it tonight on SiriusXM PGA Tour channel, I'll be doing the Beyond the Tip show with my man Trey Jones. If you're into golf talk, get an hour's worth of it tonight from 9 to 10. Should be fun.
There's a whole host of things to potentially talk about tonight. Obviously, with live golf happening last weekend, more live golf happening this weekend.
Golf leading the way in the COVID-19 era.
We're within a month of the PGA Tour returning, and then maybe, just maybe, by this time tonight, or certainly by next week's show, we'll have some concrete steps being laid out for college golf returning, as college sports in general, but specific to your show, college golf.
Well done, sir. That is perfect timing and a great introduction into the next segment. Pre-show meetings pay off, folks. That and Tom's professionalism. Texas athletic officials issued a 48-page guide to their employees yesterday that dove into granular detail about how the Texas Longhorns coaches and staff can return to work. I'm hoping to read of FSU's 48-page, 50-page, 7-page, some sort of page document that's going to be released, and countless other universities and their football programs as well, because certainly that's proactive and it's smart and it signals the return of the sport.
I think the sentence would be, I hope we are being proactive.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah, me too. Maybe I'll learn more about that in the next 24 hours or so. The majority of the University of Texas is 375 employees, are officed in the north end zone of Royal Memorial Stadium, a place you've been, and at a time we thought witnessed one of the great games in college football, only to find out both teams kind of sucked. But
yeah, if you
what a night.
remove context from the season, and that's a really, really entertaining and awesome football game with two really cool uniforms clashing on that field. And interesting that they have a lot of people working in that stadium. That sounds familiar.
Indeed. Texas Notre Dame is the game we're referencing that Tom attended, and obviously Doak Campbell Stadium would be what you're referencing currently.
Once more, a PSA for the folks. If you ever go to a game there and you're in the upper deck, don't trust seat 1 in the row as being an aisle seat. It's the middle of 2 major rows if you're not careful, meaning it's a 60-person row and seat 1 just happens to be smack dab in the middle. Lost about $30 a ticket on that. Lack of information and knowledge.
Hurt your feelings to get there in the middle of that row. It's like having the middle seat on an airplane, which I'm told is going to go the way of the dodo.
Also, the middle seat is really
gone.
Okay. Well, also, the upper deck is much like Clemson and Death Valley. It's very steep, and they don't have a plan for getting people in and out.
Uncomfortable.
So if there's a fire in that building and you're on the upper deck, you're dead. Moreover, if people are already all in their seats and you got to climb over them 30 times to get to your seat with that steep incline, you also are contemplating what life you have lived and what you've done right and wrong in your life.
Going forward, employees will have to fill out an online questionnaire at home before showing up to work, according to a document that was reviewed by the American Statesman. In addition, they must pass a temperature check to get into the building, wear a face covering at all times, and practice social distancing, according to the document. This is the new normal for the time being. Athletics employees can prevent and slow the spread of COVID-19 by following the recommendation, guidelines, and procedures, says Texas Athletics Employee Guide for COVID-19 states. Employees should plan to respond in a flexible way to varying levels of disease transmission in the workplace and be prepared to refine their approach as needed. A small number of UT administrators tested the new procedures just last week. Texas coach Tom Herman, his coaching staff, assorted football personnel, and some essential facility employees, about 30 in all, returned to work on Monday following the procedures that were outlined in said manual. However, any UT employee that wants to return to work must get approval from his or her supervisor. As of now, no athletes are going to be allowed into Royal Memorial Stadium. All athletic facilities remain closed to athletes. Big 12 Commissioner Bob Bowlesby, as we monitor the Power 5, has said in interviews that athletes may be allowed to return in early June. In various Zoom meetings, Texas Athletic Director Chris Del Conte has stressed to the workforce that anyone who wants to stay at home can continue to work there remotely. All athletics employees need to consider how best to decrease the spread of COVID-19 and lower the impact in our workplace. Deputy Athletics Director Sean Eichhorst oversaw a committee of about 20 people to compile the document. They incorporated some of the protocols being used by the 4 active construction sites around Texas athletics. They say it takes you 20 days to break a habit and to form a habit, said Del Conte. Starting now creates these habits. That is what we need to do to get back to a sense of normalcy around campus. Begin now. So they're starting now, and they've got a blueprint for how to do so. It's been delivered and distributed to every employee at the University of Texas, and they're giving those employees, as you heard there, the freedom to check in or out, depending on how comfortable they feel with these guidelines and returning to work. But each day, they're saying they're going to navigate sort of a series of steps in order to come back to work and get in the building, and they'll utilize and they'll start with these guidelines.
It's interesting, and I guess that's the nature of employment in general for the next year or two would be the handbook. We all sign the employee handbook, well, at least most companies have, some sheet that you have to sign beyond just your application to say these are the rules and principles of the organization that I will follow. You're going to have a COVID-19 handbook. When you return back to work, you're going to have a COVID-19 handbook. When you take a new job somewhere, that stresses what you need to do in order to keep the level of safety at a maximum and keep the risk at a minimum.
Couple things here if you want to feel encouraged. And many people right now are asking this question about athletics in general, in particular football, and whether it's going to be played, will it be played with fans, etc. This is a blueprint for really all the other universities, not just the Big 12 and not just the University of Texas, as to how you can operate. But it's being born from what? Well, the idea that the University of Texas is going to host football games in the fall. That's what this starts. This is the premise for returning to work, is that you're going to do so because, and they say it, if you read the entirety of the document, it's said in the document, we're doing this to, A, get a head start on the new normal because we're anticipating playing football games in the fall with students on campus. Now, it does not say that 25%, 50% of Memorial Stadium will be filled. They don't know that yet, but they're beginning the new protocol. An oddity, I might add, that I think is going to be weird at first, but certainly, I guess, reassuring for those in the buildings, and this could be across the board at your work, my work, really anywhere people are housed and employed, is that you have to pass the fever test, right? So the whole thing about what that number is and what's the new normal and all this, did you know along the way that we have higher temperatures than we used to? That's considered normal now?
Well, like 99.2 or something like that?
Like 99.8, 99, you can go all the way up to 100 and not be considered to have a fever in some cases.
Well, yeah, with this particular, the problem is, though, the literature has debated how much of a correlation there is between a high fever and COVID. Yeah.
Well, right.
But yes, it's something that can tell you to go the hell home. If it says 102.5 or 103 for sure.
Of course.
You wouldn't even be able to get in the car at 103 or 103.5 and not crash it probably.
What they're doing is interesting, though. If you pass the screening process, so you will go through a temperature check. They're going to ask you certain questions about whether or not you've had shortness of breath, whether or not, well, first of all, if you test positive, you can't go in the building. There's all these different things. So you have the test, you have muscle ache, you have shortness of breath, you have fever, you have all these different things that you have to pass before you're able to come into the building. If you pass all of those things and verbally answer the questionnaire to the liking of whoever the screener is, you get doled out a band that you have to wear. And it's a color-coded band saying you've been screened. And depending on the color of the band, obviously, if it changes every day is what they say in this manual. Could be red one day, yellow the next day, white the next day, whatever it might be. It tells all the other people who may come across you in that given day on the campus or in that facility that you've been screened and that you've passed the test. So you're not encountering somebody that's in question. Just weird that we're all perhaps going to have to start wearing bands as we enter our place of employment. We'll see.
I'm sure there will be part of a crowd that doesn't like that because it marks you.
Well, sure. I get that, but at the same time, these are extraordinary times.
This is interesting to me that this would be a daily process. I'm just trying to think about all the logistics that go into making something like this happen. You got to order a bunch of bands, if that's the case, first of all. And you got to make sure they're clean and stored properly.
Invest in band companies.
Invest in paper companies and printing companies and all that kind of stuff. Our friends at Budget Printing. I'm sure they've got a lot of weird jobs coming, unique jobs, plexiglass, things like that. But I was also just thinking about, if you're a stadium with chair backs, how the hell do you put covers on the seats that you're not allowed to sit in, like in order to make sure people space out? For Doak, it's going to be simple. I think you sanitize the chair backs they already have for boosters, and you place them throughout the stadium, and that would be your marked seat with proper spacing. That you can't sit on the bleachers. Your butt can't be on the metal. It can only be on the chair back, and that would be how you space it. But if you look like a baseball stadium with chair backs and little armrests, how the hell do you close those down and make sure you put bungee cords in every single one of them? Just going to be interesting. It's a big handbook you need.
It's a massive handbook, and there's a lot to figure out. They do note that this is just the initial stage of trying to figure this out, but having proactive approaches and conversations. Admittedly, there are many layers to it, but they believe, Texas does, that the Power 5 conferences, the local conferences, the NCAA will come to a conclusion over the next 2 weeks as to how soon athletes return. Obviously, we know that from today. And then also what the protocol is going to be for said athletes when they come back to campus, where they can go, what they can do, what they can't do, how they eat, how they work out, and how they participate.
It seems to be the questionnaire is going to be universal across all sports, because we heard that about golf. Before you go from city to city, before you're allowed on the grounds, you got to do the testing, but then you also have to take the questionnaire. That seems to be, whether you're a pro or college athlete or in the administration building of the University of Texas and probably many others and many other forms of business, you're going to have to go through screening questions. That's going to be part of the process. I don't know what that does, though. If you really want to get in, you could just say, yep, I'm fine.
I'm good to go.
Yep,
no problems here. Right.
What's the right answer there? No. What's the right answer?
Well,
yes.
You brought this up once before, and I think finally it's going to turn out to be a thing that is no longer frowned upon, and that is, look, man, if you don't feel well, you know you don't feel well. You know damn well when you got up that morning that you feel clammy, you're under the weather, you've got a cold, you're sneezing, your throat hurts, you've got a temperature. You don't have to show me what kind of a man you are or how tough you are as a human being by showing up to work. We don't want you here. Go home. Get better. Get back to work as soon as you can. Do so by being healthy and resting. Don't come into work and say, well, there's just too much to be done. We'll live.
Yeah, but here's the problem. What if you're sneezing like crazy and you've got a dry throat and a dry cough, but you don't have a temperature, and it's, say, I don't know, Florida State, Miami, and you're the quarterback of Florida State. Come into the locker room, you've got a dry, heavy cough, your eyes are watering because of sneezing. They said, ooh, get him a temperature check, 98.6. Now what do you do?
Yeah, I know, man. They're going to be constantly, it looks like players will be tested once we have an excess of tests. Took forever in a day to get the requisite amount of tests for people in this country. But that said, we're moving in the right direction, obviously. And it does look like we're moving in a direction that sees athletes across the country that once back on campus and once in the facilities will be tested a couple times a week, bare minimum. Frequency of tests is going to be ratcheted up quite a bit for those in close quarters seeking to compete in all sports.
It has been as a country, though. Yeah. If you look at the amount of tests that we've done, this week versus 2 weeks ago, we're starting to finally, it's nearly June, but we're getting there. We're starting to hit near 500,000 tests a day as a nation. Mm-hmm. So we get to that 750 million number by the time that July 4th rolls around, we'll be in really good shape, because then you'll have expendable tests for all of the leagues.
Yeah, just a little bit past Easter. That's all. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
At Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, we are open and ready for business. It's our huge Memorial Day weekend sale. We can't be stopped celebrating these deals. New cars with a baffling 0.9% APR for 84 months. May is also Ram Truck Month with outrageous discounts, up to $11,000 off MSRP on some remaining 2019 Rams. Cash in on our Detroit special. Employee pricing on 2020 Wranglers and Gladiators. And pocket these never-before offered mind-blowing savings. Receive 0% for 72 months on almost a dozen models and save thousands. These savings are shocking. Our First Responders program will get you an extra $500 this weekend only. We are so proud of our healthcare professionals. We are offering the same $500 to all of you as well. Only at Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram on the corner of Capitol Circle and West Tennessee. We're right on the corner and always right on the price. Must qualify through Chrysler Credit for special financing. All rebates and incentives apply, plus tax tag and dealer fee.
Attention Tallahassee, Phase 1 is Phase Patio at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill will be serving up the coldest, crispest refreshments and their signature delicious jumbo wings, all while adhering to responsible social distancing. You know this is the best time of the year to sit on the outdoor patio or deck, so make the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill on Appalachia Parkway your first and most frequent stop for Phase Patio. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Order takeout today at cptallybar.com. That's That's cptallybar.com. Tallahassee loves the corner pocket.
Hey guys, how are you? This is Eddie from Gordo's Restaurants and Bumpa's Local 349. I just want to let you guys know that we here in the local community love to have you back. It's 25%, we know, but we're doing the best that we can to serve you and do what we do the way we do it. Same great food, a little bit more space. And we're not the only ones. There's lots of local restaurants out there. Just remember, eat local, drink local, be local. Come see us.
Tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops with their Memorial Day sale happening May 22nd through the 25th. All Nike golf shoes are 25% off. Score an epic deal on Callaway's Epic Flash Driver, now only $349. Save big with the G400.
Tree experts and landscaping.
See, very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Stan Van Gundy with us on ESPN Radio. What did you make? I know this had to drive you crazy, of all the people saying on The Last Dance documentary, I wouldn't let us lose. Michael wouldn't let us lose. It wasn't one of the options.
I've always loved that saying in sports. And the one I heard first on The Last Dance was when they were playing Phoenix in the finals, and Charles Barkley said that about himself. I think it was Game 3 after they'd lost a couple. I wasn't going to let us lose. And every time I hear that, I'm saying, so then you decided to let them win the other 4 games? Like you decided I would let us lose the other 4? I've always wondered about some of these things in sports. Like, oh, he wouldn't let them lose. Well, wait a minute. They lost X number of games that year. What was his decision in those? I don't get that.
The Dan Le Batard Show, weekdays at 10 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios in Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
All right, I know it's not on our mind right now, but it is an indicator yet again of just how far the program has come. A little college basketball talk for you for a second that, okay, admittedly, a little bit of a reach. But I like to look at these things because I also like the affirmation that the program is in a place now where it can lose what it just lost to the professional ranks and or graduation and still be considered almost across the board in any of the way too early top 25 previews for the 2020-2021 season of college basketball. And there was one posted by Jeff Borzello for ESPN.com, college basketball writer, who noted that the preseason rankings that he had were posted today. Gonzaga's number 1, who cares? But what I wanted to see immediately was whether or not Florida State was also in his top 25, because they are in almost every other preseason way too early top 25 prediction. The answer is yes. Now, if you want some comedy, here you go. Let me start with this.
Uh-oh. Where's Florida ranked? 6?
Ahead of us, Tom, ahead of us, as is annually the tradition, which also usually features them finishing quite a ways behind us and always losing to us. Always. They're 21. They're 21. We, however, we, meaning Florida State University, is 24. Now, that said, that is a preseason top 25, and the way he views the starting lineup for next year is Walker, Calhoun, Barnes, Gray, Osborne as the starting 5. That's the way he projects the starting five to be. It's a reminder that MJ Walker will be back next year.
He said Evans?
No, he has Calhoun. That's the JUCO transfer, of course.
Yep.
He's got Scotty Barnes, of course,
Running
number
the
4.
point, yeah.
And then he's got Raekwon Gray and Malik Osborne.
All right. Well, with Evans coming off the bench as your sixth man, you'd be in good position.
Yeah, you have. I mean, it's really pretty impressive, and you've got probably a breakout year coming from Balsa. Seriously, you do.
Yeah.
I mean, Balsa will provide that, and but
Steele has some nastiness to him. He does.
Oh, yeah.
He's in spurts, but it's very much a freshman campaign.
But just think about where we're at as a program. I mean, you have a regular season ACC title. In the last 3 years, you have a regular season ACC title, 29 wins in a season, and a Sweet 16 and an Elite 8 run. It really, and who knows what this would have been, obviously. I mean, I think it is very safe. Now, the tournament is always subject to shocking upsets, and who knows, we could have fallen victim to one of those type of scenarios. It doesn't seem likely playing in Tampa that Florida State would have fallen in either of their first 2 games. And thus, I think you could put almost in pen Sweet 16 appearance for Florida State's team last year. That was the kind of team that was going to win those games. They won all the big, close games. They just did. They found ways time and again. And so I think they would have won those games and gone to another Sweet 16. But we'll never know, and that's the tragedy. All 3 of those seasons, Florida State was underrated by the press and by both nationally and regionally. You saw that never was that team projected to do anything close to what they did. And yet there they sat at the end of each of those 3 seasons, and every one of those seasons featured you and I and others talking about a scenario by which Florida State had to replace a vital cog in their operation that moved on, either in the coaching staff or on the court itself with players. So, it's been time and again that they were overlooked and time and again that they came through.
This last year was the most impressive overachievement if you go by preseason expectations.
Sure.
Because they're consistently in the top 10. You got used to Florida State basketball being in the top 10 every single week in the top 25 poll. That's where we were. Worst case 12, but we get to 10, 8, 6. I mean, that's where we'd be, and that was after losing Kabengele and Mann.
Oh, it's crazy.
Phil Kofer.
If you just stopped at Kabengele and Mann.
Yeah.
That's a remarkable amount of talent, rebounds, points to lose. It's again, and I have questions just like everybody else does, but that's where we're at. You can lose Trent Forrest, who is an all-time great player at Florida State University. You lose now listen, you're gonna lose him, but you get a versatile top 5 kid in Scotty Barnes that comes in. But you lose Devin Vassell, and most importantly, at least in terms of projected greatness. Not career, that's Trent Forrest. That's losing a lot. But projected greatness, elite level, over the top kind of great, all-time kind of great talent, Patrick Williams. Losing him is it's extraordinary to lose a player of that caliber. But you have a touted junior college transfer in Sardar Calhoun, who people can't say enough good things about and has had his moments already where people are wowed by his ability to put the ball in the basket. MJ Walker, who's played here for 10 years, if his knees can handle it, if he somehow can handle the loss of hair and a growing pot belly and bills to choke a horse and, burgeoning family and...
Ice him up, man. Ice him up. Get ready to go. He had an important year of development this year, though.
He did. He's just got to stop leaving the court for 8 minutes at a time after falling down. But Tough Love Cameron doesn't rest in the offseason, Tom. That's what I want you to know. Tough Love Cameron is here for MJ Walker in the offseason.
I think in this circumstance, with the roster comprised the way it is, I'm okay with him leaving every single game for 5 to 6 minutes of game action being carried off the court if he comes back and plays another 10 quality minutes afterwards.
I need you to get past the need to be carried off the court. Enough. You're fine. Rub some dirt on it. Let's go. We're playing basketball out here. It happens.
You know what sucks? This is an underrated, probably like a storyline T from A to Z.
Mm-hmm.
But that Dom was coming around. He
really
would have played
was
some
starting to play
big
pretty
minutes.
well, yeah.
I mean, it might have been 8 to 10 a game, but he would have played some big minutes and done some things where you go, all right, damn it,
Way
Dom.
to go, Dom!
Way to contribute to this Final Four run.
Yeah. No, I know. He was coming on. And I really, we can never know, but I think more than anything else that Patrick had surpassed the reliability factor of Devin Vassell. Like, Patrick became much more reliable towards the end of the year than Devin Vassell.
I don't know about if you need a jump shot, but
no, just to
if you need an offensive board, if you need to control half
or to have
court.
a stretch where he takes over a game
Yeah.
on both ends of the floor.
Yeah,
meaning both ends of the floor. I'm counting his defense because he altered, blocked, changed complexions of an offense all the time. When he was on the floor, that Virginia game would have never gone the way that it did had he played.
This is true, yes. And maybe if it went the other way, then Florida State would have gotten another second and a half on the ACC montage.
Maybe.
For the basketball season.
Perhaps. Evidence suggests not.
It might have been maybe 3 more seconds for Virginia.
Yeah, more time.
Who we obliterate in the APR, by the way. You see the basketball APR, 3rd in the conference.
Yeah, 3rd in the conference. Ham does things right time and again. That is a program that should be idolized, modeled by other programs in a proud and prestigious basketball conference. That's what Florida State now is. That's what they are, period. It's a program that graduates its players, stays out of trouble, plays an exciting brand of basketball, and wins. Above all else, it does all of those things while winning big games against programs that pour millions of dollars into winning basketball games, millions of more dollars than we do into winning basketball games. So it is an overachieving program that is as well run as any in the entire country.
You know, what's funny is we're always talking about fans in the stands, attendance-wise for football, because that's the one that's going to drive the bus and really help dictate what the budget's going to look like. Because not only does attendance give you money from the ticket itself, but that means that you've been, booster contributions have been a part of that gift to get the season tickets. You please don't take basketball away from me. That has been
yeah.
Overall, since I got here in 2006, that's been my favorite thing to go to. But in the last 4 to 5 years, oh my God, the atmospheres, not the least of which was Boston College and raising the banner afterwards. But you think about the power games we've played and the ringing in your ears after walking out of the TLC-CC on a consistent basis. That is a ticket I don't want to lose in this academic year.
It's been such not only a well-spent dollar going to a basketball game at the TLC-CC because pretty much every time you go, you win. I mean, the last 3 years, if you bought a ticket to go to a home game and watch Florida State play, you probably saw a win. Not an opinion. You pretty much saw a win. Unless it was a last-second loss to Duke in an incredibly well-played game, a loss to Louisville. Is the other one to Virginia? I guess that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Kyle Guy open, in the corner.
Oh, cool. Kyle Guy went nuts in that second half. I'm still pissed about it, but there was nothing we could do. That dude hit tough shots. He's a good player, Tom. He was a good player.
Pretty good player.
Screw him. Very good player, in fact. But, yeah, no, you're right. It's also, oddly, it's first of all come at a time that was absolutely necessary because the football program had flown the plane into the side of a mountain. And we were in the midst of dealing with that reality, right? Just constantly looking up and aghast at what we were witnessing because this is a traditional power and a program that had once again resurrected itself and rose to the top of college football only to fall off the edge rather quickly and, as I say, blow it all up. At that time, you're thinking, well, good God, man. Luckily, softball, volleyball, track, tennis, various other sports across the board. Baseball even played really well, beat LSU at Alex Box, went to the College World Series, had a hell of a pitching staff this year, looked like they were going to be in the mix late this year. Other sports were picking up the pieces, but none more than basketball, in my mind, had the combination of popularity, meaning people cared to go watch them play. So the sport is fun and it's popular and it's energized by a fan presence that Florida State's really never seen before in basketball. Outside of some brief runs, I was here in the early 90s and I saw those Pat Kennedy teams. And this version, this sustained version, has been better and more warmly received over a longer period of time. I get those 2 magical years that we all reference that Pat had. But really, this has now been a thing that you could count on year in and year out to win huge games and a much better conference, mind you. Obviously, we made the transition to the ACC while Pat Kennedy was coaching, but initially the runs began with Pat before we had joined the league, before we had become anything in the ACC. Now we've won actual ACC titles, plural. And you know, gone to the Elite Eight in the Sweet 16 multiple times. You're continuing to see sustained excellence, plus the style of play and the ability to recruit. So basketball has been the salve during this tough time. And I think we've grown. A lot of people who were on the fence or outright hostile towards Coach Ham have kind of been won over. I don't think there's any question about that. You people know who you are. It's taken a long time, but eventually they got on board, and so fine. We welcomed you onto the train begrudgingly. If it were up to me, I'd have kicked your ass off and never let you on, but that's okay. Other people calmed me down.
You let me back on. I took about a 3 or 4 month period off.
But everybody come back on board, and we'll all have a good time on the train and roll on Big River. But that's what this place is now. You have a revered coach, respected and beloved even in the game of basketball. I'm talking about nationally. When you listen to elite coaches across the country talk about Coach Hamilton, they gush. And they know because the man is a good man, a principled man who does right by the student athletes and wins games, buddy, wins games. And he took a hell of a risk, changed it up, almost lost his job, survived, came out the other side, and now really, I think that oddly, we go into every season, and that was the whole purpose of having this discussion about the basketball team being ranked in the top 25 despite losing all of the aforementioned players, you know, Trent and Patrick and Devin and all those guys. But I feel like every year I start to talk about, can we finish above 500 in the ACC? Will we finish in the upper half of the conference? That way we know for sure we're going to go to an NCAA tournament. That conversation has shifted as well. I'm almost of the mindset now where what would prevent us? Is there anything happening within the conference that's going to prevent us from finishing in the top 3 this year? That's kind of how the conversation starts now. Now, the answer could be yes, Tom, because Louisville exists, because Syracuse exists, because Duke and North Carolina exist. Although, roll it out there, Roy ain't exactly coaching them up these days. But the point is, those programs, rich programs, tradition and financially, they're going to have their years. But, I mean, honestly, at the beginning of every year now, I'm like, what if we can finish top 5, top 3, top 4? I don't think about middling finishes.
Yeah, well, for me, this was all about a middling finish, just finishing the top half this past season because of all that was
You and I were both thinking that way. I'm saying that's what's changed. I think you'll go into this year no longer doing that. You'll just say top 5.
Yeah, you're looking to get that double bye in the tournament by being a top 4 seed, and if you're better than that, great. If you're a little bit worse, just a little bit worse, then you're still in the NCAA tournament comfortably.
Yeah.
You know, there's obviously a lot of opportunity in this time, and a lot of people take a moment like COVID or a crisis and use it for nefarious means, insider trading by, you know, maybe government officials or kickbacks or earmarks in certain bills, all those types of things. But you can also use this as a good opportunity to yield some good things for the long term, and I hope people are doing that. FSU basketball can use this as an opportunity to move students closer to the court. Who the hell cares about that in the headlines right now? But you put it out there and you say students will now get 4 rows or 3 rows, even 2, to themselves along one of the sidelines across from the benches.
Intensify the atmosphere.
To intensify the atmosphere.
I like it.
Who would fight that right now?
Nobody.
Here's your chance because it would get buried.
And old people who house those tickets and seats and live in Fort Lauderdale and Orlando and don't bother coming to the games nor transfer them to people who are living here in Tallahassee and could use them. Their old asses aren't coming to the games anymore. They're worried about dying. Let them stay home. Let's go.
And those that do can sit in row 3 on that side. No comment to the other points.
It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. AAA Tree Experts in Landscaping remind you to prepare your property for hurricane season. If you have trees on your property, it is crucial to have them inspected before a major hurricane. Contact AAA Tree Experts in Landscaping today, 385-3319, that's 385-3319, or online at AAATreeExperts.net, AAATreeExperts.net.
Not every law firm is the same. For example, you don't hire a divorce attorney to handle a foreclosure. The same goes for your insurance claim. Hire a firm that has the knowledge and experience in handling insurance matters. The Morgan Law Group is dedicated solely to this cause, fighting insurance claims that are underpaid, delayed, or denied. With offices throughout Florida, the Morgan Law Group covers claims for all hurricanes, storms, mold, fires, boats, and even sinkholes. Representing the policyholder, going after the insurance companies. The Morgan Law Group. Offices Miami, Orlando, Naples, and Panama City. Online at policyadvocate.com.
Not an employee or member of a law firm.
The Florida Lottery has awarded nearly 900,000 Bright Future scholarships and counting. That means Bright Future scholars are everywhere.
They are doctors,
teachers,
Scientists.
even artists.
They are shining in every field imaginable. And every day, more students are preparing for their moment in the spotlight. With Bright Futures and the Florida Lottery.
There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Wash your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Stay home when you are sick. Cover your cough or sneeze. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects with household cleaning spray. For more information, visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Come visit the new and exciting Hangar 38. This amazing place is for everyone listening right now. Practice your bowling skills, compete, and have fun. Whether you're a newbie, an all-star, or a beer frame champion, no matter how you roll, you'll find the best place to bowl is at Hangar 38. Hangar 38 is home to over 75 arcade games, so they're sure to have something for everyone. Zeppelin's at Hangar 38 is a premier, full-service restaurant and sports bar, and it's also your place for birthday parties and company outings. Tallahassee, what are you waiting for? Come on out to Zeppelin's Hangar 38, 6668 Thomasville Road behind Walgreens.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
This spring, I'm making everyday Earth Day by incorporating small actions that can create big results.
Like what?
Well, I'm starting with daily habits. Turning off the lights every time I leave a room, shutting off the tap when I brush my teeth, and unplugging electronics when I'm not using them.
Those are great ideas our whole family can do.
And since we're home more, I could also use your help with a few one-time projects that could benefit us long-term, like fixing water leaks and installing our rain barrel.
I'd love to help. Right after I call the City of Tallahassee Utilities at 891-4968 to sign up for paperless billing.
Excellent! Tonight, let's ask the kids if they have any ideas about what we can do to save energy, water, and money as we celebrate Earth Day at home.
2020 marks the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, and there are many things TLH can do to celebrate at home. Get inspiration at TLHCanDo.com. Small actions create big results. A message from the City of Tallahassee Utilities.
Gulick and Wingo.
This playing out in the court of public opinion ultimately ends up benefiting no one.
I agree.
Like in the normal course of negotiation, you're right. The ability to go out here, when I first saw that this plan was put out there, I went, I can't believe Major League Baseball would put this plan out because it's going to put the players in the spot where if they push back at all, they appear greedy. Yeah. And that's usually the goal in these things. And now going back the other way, the players, and we'll get to Sean Doolittle among them, bringing up a lot of the health and safety reasons. is the perfect rebuttal of that to bring this and make this about something that's so universally right now understood by people. Will the NBA and the PA look at this and say, you know what, it's probably better if we do all of our planning behind closed doors from now on and don't come to the table until we all agree on something, because there ain't no win with the look we got.
Golic and Wingo, weekdays at 6 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios, this is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
Tallahassee's tastiest jumbo wings are back in force. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is now open daily from 4 to 9 p.m. for all your takeout needs. Enjoy an all-day, everyday special of 10 wings and a basket of fries for just $10. Plus, have the Corner Pocket make you a signature to-go beer or liquor beverage as well. Red Russians, anybody? Just call 574-2724 for your wing order today. That's 574-2724 for the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Or to stop by and order in person, please use the outdoor deck. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachie Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios in Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
All programs. This is a radio crash on Pirate Satellite.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show. I thank you for tuning to it. I'm Jeff, that's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you get to listen live via the streaming free always. You miss anything, go back and caught up at your leisure. All 3 hours, as is usually the case, going to be posted as soon as we finish the show. We'll throw it up on our website, and we'll also put it up on iTunes for you. Thanks to all of you who have rated and reviewed. We especially appreciate those of you who've shared the 5-star rating with iTunes. It helps us. You can email the show if you like, jcs at 979ESPNradio.com. On Twitter, it's at JCameron Show. WTSM app good for mobile devices. YouTube still up and running, just audio only right now. But if you listen to the show via the YouTube, you still can. I know some of you look at that as a workaround. You know, Tom, I was looking at something here in preparation. I mentioned it earlier in the show, but I do believe we've now got it pretty well confirmed. Head coach Mike Norvell going to join us on the Jeff Cameron Show, as brought to you by our friends at Berno Heating and Air Conditioning, sponsoring our interview with Mike Norvell. So that's going to take place this Friday, a couple days from right now, and I think it looks like he's going to join us in the 3 o'clock hour. So heads up to all of you who kind of stagger your listening, times because of work or whatever it is you have to do. Obviously, it's of no impact to you if you're a podcaster or you listen to the show via the stream at a later time. That's fine. I get all of that. But if you have a little bit of time available to you in the 3 o'clock hour on Friday, you're going to want to tune in right then, because he's going to join us live, and we'll get a catch-up with the head coach about, listen, it's a drop-in. It's just a chance to hear from our head coach about what's happened since the last time we talked. Of course, I led the way by having Coach Norvell on first over the break. It's what we do, Tom. You knew that. But anyhow, he came on, and we had a conversation about what they were doing, the kind of things they were doing since spring football had gotten cut unceremoniously. After just 3 practices, 1 in pads. And I wanted to catch back up with him and see what else has been going on since.
One thing I'd really be curious to hear, since, there might be a topic or two about when players can come back on campus, but I doubt that even players coming back on in early June would mean that you can have football coaches around them or team coaches around them as they do their workouts, right? There's a difference between individual voluntary workouts that take place on campus and team-organized activities that take place on campus.
Yeah, you look around the country today, everybody's been keeping a close eye on the NCAA vote, and everybody across the board wanting to see what the target date is. But, early this morning or even earlier today in the mid-lunch hour, somewhere in there, you could go to various websites across the country, team-oriented websites, and you would see updates about what those schools' intentions are, what their plans are. Later in the show, I'm going to share some of those things with you in terms of, I know we've talked about Texas and other stuff, you and I off the air, as well as on it. So schools are preparing to move forward. It looked like June 8th, like you said, was sort of the date. Teams like Ohio State, universities like Ohio State targeting June 8th, and I've heard some other schools as well.
Yeah, that was according to bucknuts.com on the 24/7 website.
Incredible name for the team website there at Ohio State.
According to bucknuts.com,
yeah.
Today, Gene Smith did confirm their reporting, which was June 8th is the target date, Monday, June 8th, for players to return to campus for voluntary workouts. Again, not the same as organized team activities in which you'd have football coaches beyond the trainer present, but it's a step in the right direction. What I'd want to know from Mike Norvell on Friday, though, is about recruiting. So how do you discover kids? Do you go look at YouTube or Huddle, or do you call the high school coaches circuit and ask them in their spare time to send you videos? And how do you set up Zoom meetings and go through, I don't want to say power brokers, but you go find the right people to that have the kid's interest in mind to say, hey, listen, can I talk to this young man? Can I talk to this 3-star? Because I don't think he's a 3-star. I think the recruiting services are a year behind on him. I think he's a 4-star and a true blue chipper. So can I get an hour Zoom call with him? Like, all of these processes are no longer face-to-face. It's no longer about hitting the trail. So what does that look and entail for a coaching staff that's not only new to Florida State, but one that's new to this process at the same time?
Well, I got to think it is a really, really difficult task for a new coaching staff in the state to be able to make those kinds of connections and get insight from people that allows you to compete on the same level with Florida, whose head coach has a head start and obviously some inroads in the state. To some extent, Miami's the same, but you still got to find a way. You still got to forge ahead. You still got to find a way to identify burgeoning talent that maybe is being overlooked. And we know, remember our conversation with Ira on Monday, that recruiting is going to be interesting just because there are going to be a lot of big misses. It's difficult right now. The student athlete hasn't had a chance to attend camps that they would normally attend that the coaches could watch. They haven't been able to make on-campus visits. It's been difficult.
Well, and that's maybe something he would expound on to the point that he doesn't want anybody to steal his secrets. But, Jimbo had a knack for seeing whatever he needed to see. And it wasn't just about looking at measurables and bringing a kid in and taking a look at, the potential for growth plates or anything like that. He had an eye for it. Not just that he's going to be looking different at 22 than he was at 18, but he could play this position. They got him in the wrong place in high school, but wait till I get him here.
I get him. I'll move him here. And
I'll move him over here.
Perfectly.
He's going to go get drafted. Like, what is Norvell's procedure and process? Because he's found some less than desirable players, and I don't mean off the field, I just mean in the recruiting rankings, and turn them into mid-round NFL picks. So how do you do that? And is it just about working?
It's a fun conversation to have. He'll want to talk about that, I think, because that's what makes you attractive to any prospect, let alone some guys that maybe feel like they're undervalued. I believe that a coach has to be not only confident in his abilities, whether it's a play caller or an organizer or whatever it might be, but certainly your ability to evaluate and develop talent. And you have to trumpet and champion that because it's what's going to make you appealing to recruits across the country.
Well, and then the hard part, too, this is getting a little bit in the weeds with recruiting, but you brought this up last week, how Patrick Burnham over at the Osceola was openly asking the question on social media, these are 2021 and 22 kids that may not have been evaluated all that much, 22, 23 kids even that are getting offers. And it's like, well, how can they get offers if they haven't played, too much varsity football and they haven't been on camps? So what are you going off of in order to offer that kid? And is it a true committable offer from the university or almost like a placeholder of, hey, sit tight.
Yeah, hold in there.
But we're interested in you. And how does that process look like? Because maybe for Coach Norvell, he's looking at this upcoming recruiting class and saying, I can make a splash, but not a big one. It's the next one that I can make a splash on because we'll put some product on the field that kids can get behind. And when it comes to signing day in February of 2022, we'll be in the top 10 because of X, Y, and Z. So how do you get out ahead of that if you don't have much to go on in the way of junior camps and other types of camps?
Real quick, we didn't get a chance to mention it yesterday because yesterday was a Seminole Headlines Day, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the show, and it was a lot of fun to do and get together with the fellas. But, Tom, you and I haven't had a chance to expound upon Florida State's latest APR score. And listen, it was a reason to be embarrassed. Obviously, what we saw the last time APR was a topic on the show was a humiliating number that left us last in the Power 5 and amongst most colleges. It was dangerously close to having an impact on the field, postseason, scholarships, you name it. But it's improved. It's still not great. It takes a little time for that number to come way up nationally. But it's improving. It's not getting worse, thank goodness. Now, you just start with that. But, Derek Satterfield over there, SID for football, does a good job, and I spoke with him earlier this week in my efforts to have Coach Norvell on for this Friday, and he noted that in addition to schools' multi-year APR score, the NCAA tracks single-year APR scores for coaches, and Coach Norvell's single-year score of 991 in the most recent report for the 2018-2019 academic year was the 14th best in the country, and it was the highest in the AAC where he was. So good news. Obviously, what that speaks to me, is buy-in.
Well, and what's interesting about that, too, is in the AAC or a lesser than a Power 5 conference, right? Maybe you take some academic chances because you're not going to get the kids that check all the boxes. And so you take kids that check some of the boxes, try and work on those other areas, and then put the best product on the field that you can to compete with Power 5, but you're only getting, what they don't want.
Sure.
And in his case, not only is that not true, he's getting them to make the grade quite literally. And this is the interesting part about the APR. It is one of the few issues that has little to nothing to do with Willie Taggart in the way of being negative.
Correct.
This is a Jimbo issue that Willie, by all accounts, improved on.
Improved some. I don't know that it was as improved as people thought, but yes.
But it's not like he made it worse, like so many other things in the program.
This was a Jimbo Fisher-led problem.
So in the next 2 or 3 years, if our APR score becomes somewhere in the middle of the Power 5, which would be an incredible turn of events, it would literally go from a Jimbo problem to a Norvell solution with a little bit of Willie in between, whereas there's a lot of situations in FSU football, a lot of depth chart, looking where you'd say, O-line got worse. Special teams, I don't know how, got worse. This position group got worse. This would be one of those rare things where you just go straight from Fisher to Norvell.
Listen, just making kids do what they're supposed to do, like attend class every now and again, holding them accountable, does that. I don't want to overstate this. You kind of got to monitor whether the kid goes to the damn class or not.
Yeah, it seems pretty simple, right? Yeah. And if you're in constant communication with, not just admissions on the way in, but then once the kid is there with the tutors, with the support staff,
yes,
with the counselors.
Yes.
Yeah. I am aware of the phrasing earlier as well. But if you stay in contact with the key people for the entire experience, chances are the kids are going to do okay given
They'll pass the class, Tom. They'll pass the class.
They have many safety nets
to
help them because they're very busy people.
Very busy. And they've got a lot on their plate, and they need the help. They were probably betrayed in some cases by their local high school and middle schools. Many kids that play big-time college football come from communities that are impoverished and struggle to have the necessary resources. This is not a sweeping judgment on the football players. This is rather, hey, look, man, they could use the help. There are a myriad of reasons why. It's not that hard, though, if you pay attention and make sure they're receiving the help and they're going to class. But Jimbo said, screw it. That's all there is to it.
As he did to a lot of things.
And that really hurt us. Luckily, that's turning around. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. AAA Tree Experts in Landscaping remind you to prepare your property for hurricane season. If you have trees on your property, it is crucial to have them inspected before a major hurricane. Contact AAA Tree Experts in Landscaping today, 385-3319. That's 385-3319. Or online at AAATreeExperts.net. AAATreeExperts.net.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, TSparkConstruction.com.
Planning on expanding or renovating your home or business? Did you know that these construction projects start with preliminary work such as professional sets of drawings and proper engineering? Before you apply for financing or sign a lease agreement, allow our team of contractors, architects, and engineers to assist you with planning and budgeting. Hello, I'm Travis, owner of T-Spark Enterprises, and I am here because we want your project to launch on the right foot. Call us today and we will take care of your construction needs. We aim to provide work that will exceed your expectations, guaranteeing picture-perfect results.
Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, TSparkConstruction.com.
License number CGC 1525336. Hey everybody, it's good news, and we could use some good news right about now. Getting family dinners to go with curbside pickup at Bumpa's, well, it's easy to do, and it's all day, every day. You're going to want to pay with a credit card, bring your own PIN to sign the receipt, and they want to thank you, so do I, for supporting your local restaurants when they need it most. By the way, if you call, it's 850-999-8652. And here's Rick Pitino to give you the menu items.
Pasta alla vodka. You get chicken, garlic bread, and it's a nice round price. Secondly, you got 20 wings. You got chicken fingers too, fries, onion rings on the side. Nice, also good for the family of 4. 2 racks of ribs with mac and cheese and broccoli. You could sub in some fries or rings if you want instead too, but those racks of ribs, absolutely delicious. Just beautiful.
Or you can order, Rick, from the regular menu. It's Bumpus349.com.
The whole shebang.
Who's ready for the best wings in Tally and locally brewed beers? Hobbit American Grill is the place to be. They've been voted Tally's best wings again in 2018. Hobbit offers Bingo Mondays, happy hour all-day Fridays with craft beers on tap from all the local breweries. And the Hobbit is your home for all the UFC fights with plenty of high-def TVs for everyone. Be on the lookout for the food truck coming soon with the best lip-smacking wings in town. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving great food to great friends for good times. For info on their hours and 3 locations, visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
This spring, I'm making Everyday Earth Day by incorporating small actions that can create big results.
Like what?
Well, I'm starting with daily habits, turning off the lights every time I leave a room, shutting off the tap when I brush my teeth, and unplugging electronics when I'm not using them.
Those are great ideas our whole family can do.
And since we're home more, I could also use your help with a few one-time projects that could benefit us long-term, like fixing water leaks and installing our rain barrel.
I'd love to help. Right after I call the City of Tallahassee Utilities at 891-4968 to sign up for paperless billing.
Excellent! Tonight, let's ask the kids if they have any ideas about what we can do to save energy, water, and money as we celebrate Earth Day at home.
2020 marks the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, and there are many things TLH can do to celebrate at home. Get inspiration at TLHCanDo.com. Small actions create big results. A message from the City of Tallahassee Utilities.
Seminole Headlines Podcast Edition is presented to you by the Morgan Law Group, representing the policyholder, going after the insurance companies. Offices, Miami, Orlando, Naples, and Panama City. Online at policyadvocate.com.
Tallahassee's tastiest jumbo wings are back in force. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is now open daily from 4 to 9 p.m. for all your takeout needs. Enjoy an all-day, everyday special of 10 wings and a basket of fries for just $10. Plus, have the Corner Pocket make you a signature to-go beer or liquor beverage as well. Red Russians, anybody? Just call 574-2724 for your wing order today. That's 574-2724 for the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Or to stop by and order in person, please use the outdoor deck. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachian Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Gulick and Wingo.
This playing out in the court of public opinion ultimately ends up benefiting no one.
I agree.
Like in the normal course of negotiation, you're right. The ability to go out here, when I first saw that this plan was put out there, I went, I can't believe Major League Baseball would put this plan out because it's going to put the players in the spot where if they push back at all, they appear greedy. Yeah. And that's usually the goal in these things. And now going back the other way, the players, and we'll get to Sean Doolittle among them, bringing up a lot of the health and safety reasons. is the perfect rebuttal of that to bring this and make this about something that's so universally right now understood by people. Will the NBA and the PA look at this and say, you know what, it's probably better if we do all of our planning behind closed doors from now on and don't come to the table until we all agree on something, because there ain't no win with the look we got.
Golic and Wingo, weekdays at 6 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio. This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
I can change the world with my own two hands. Make a better place with my own two hands.
My guess would be the overwhelming response to this is that you would do the same as this family did. But boy, it does make you kind of wonder a little bit about exactly what would you do? How ethical are you? How sound, how grounded are you? This is fun. This is probably stunning to have happen. A Virginia family went out for a ride. They were bored. They've been holed up like the rest of us due to Corona. And they nearly ran over what looked like a giant bag of trash. And they saw it in the road. There was another bag nearby. So they swerved and pulled over. David and Emily Shantz left their Caroline County home with their children last Saturday, drove the pickup truck, pulled over, wanted to pick up the trash, thought, who in the world throws their trash out onto the road, onto the highway? They picked up the two bags, threw it in the back of their pickup truck, and said, well, we'll throw these in the trash when we get to a place that has a receptacle. And they got back to their house, picked up the bags, and opened it, only to find cash, large sums of cash. Turns out it was $1 million.
Holy Jesus.
$1 million in cash.
What the is that?
Well, if I had been David in this case, that's the man, and I opened up a trash bag full of cash and then quickly opened the second trash bag and saw that it too was full of cash, I would have sounded a lot like that.
Holy Jesus. What the is that?
I would have then at that point said, Emily, get out here, woman. Keep the kids in the house. We have to have a discussion about something. I don't know how good of an example we're going to set, so leave the kids in the house. They decided, after talking about it, that they would return the money, that they would call the authorities. Caroline County Sheriff's Major Scott Moser said authorities have since determined where the money had been headed. They are still trying to figure out how it ended up in the middle of the road in Goochland County. Moser would not say specifically where the money was going, but he said he hopes that the recipients of the Shantz would receive, that's the last name of the family, would receive a nice reward. Their actions deserve nothing less. They saved someone an awful lot of money and set a wonderful example for others to follow. My guess is, though, Sheriff, that reward will not equal $1 million. Probably not even equal $100,000.
So they know where the money's going, the sheriff's department does.
They have figured out since where that money was headed. They just don't know how the heck it fell out and ended up in the middle of the road, as he said, in Goochland County.
Were they willing to divulge where the money was going?
They were not. They would not tell anybody where the money was to be delivered.
But it was $1 million in cash. That's atypical. Probably not going somewhere for warm and fuzzy reasons, right?
My guess is that money was headed to a bank, that this was transported by one of the trucks that you see all about town, and somehow some dumbass just left it open and the back open, I guess.
But it was in a trash bag?
No, they thought it was a trash bag. It's a bag. It turns out to be a bag. The family originally thought it was a trash bag. You're right, Tom. If it were a trash bag, that's not how you transport money from place to place, bank to bank.
See, now that's really dangerous, though. If you were you were the head of that family, and it was a trash bag, just for a hypothetical. I know that this is not, but it's a trash bag and it's full of $1 million.
I'm keeping the $1 million
in a trash bag.
But that's drug money, man. Somebody just lost their drugs, their drug money. They're never going to be able to get that back to me.
Are you sure about that?
I'm going to take that chance, Tom.
You would.
I'm going to see if it's marked.
You'd put the wife and kids.
Yes.
At risk.
Yes. Here's how. Well, listen. Are we doing No Country for Old Men here? There's a freaking beeper on this thing. Tracking. There's a tracking device.
You don't know.
Well, that was different. Remember, in No Country for Old Men, there's the case, and then finally he looks inside and sees the red beeping thing, and he realizes he's being tracked. Incredible movie. But that's different. If it were in a briefcase like that, I don't know, man. This is trash bags. That's just an unorganized drug dealer. That's somebody who threw a bunch of money in a bag and then somehow lost it on the highway riding out.
I think what I'd do is I'd go to a third-party location, a motel or a hotel, probably a fine hotel. I can get a room there for $50 right now.
Easily, yeah.
Maybe the suite. And I'd go into that suite with the trash bag, and I'd look at every single bill very carefully before I make that decision.
I'm not saying that I would in any way willy-nilly the process just gloss over the potential for very real danger.
Chuck it into the back of the QX80 and ride on. Yeah,
I'm saying I would chuck it into the back of the QX80.
But you would not ride on.
I would ride on away from where I was in that moment, but correct, there would be some long, drawn-out thought process involved in where I was going to store the cash, how much of it I was going to keep, if not all of it. Is it being tracked? How long should I hold on to it before I float a few bills out there into the market?
And where would you do so?
I don't know. Probably not in that state. I'm not real sure.
Maybe Thomasville? The Thomasville market could use a couple of bucks?
I'd flood the Thomasville market. First, I'd buy gas and cash. There you go. Here's a 50 for my gas.
Yeah. You got to be careful because it's not necessarily illegal, right? I mean, just strictly speaking, if you find a trash bag with $1 million in cash on the side of the road.
Trash bag, correct. I think if you find
yours,
something that is quite obviously a bank deposit or a bank, a regulatory transaction, like it's a huge, whatever the hell those Brinks trucks transport money in. If you recognize what that is and you know it, you probably got to turn that in, and they probably would know where the money was. It is probably marked in some capacity.
I think those bags have some sort of protocols.
Yeah, security. I would think, right? Yeah. So that, that's a no-brainer. You got to do it. But a trash bag, Tom, I'm keeping that money. That's a careless drug dealer. That's somebody who has either was on the run, was about to get killed.
And you're doing more good with that money.
That's right. This is an act of benevolence on my part. Seriously, though, it's a fun question. They've made movies about this. They're Bill Pullman's in one. There's various forms of this story that have played out over the years where the money divides a family, and that's a lot of people have to keep a secret. Usually, you find $1 million, you're not just keeping that to yourself. Like I would tell you,
right?
You specifically.
Ooh,
here's
that's weighty knowledge. That'll cost you.
Jeff, to carry this weight in this vow of silence, which I assume you're going to ask of me, I'm going to need,
in equal weight,
I'm going to need
some amount of stack of money.
An incentive is all I'm saying. Something that would incentivize my silence.
Here's what you could do, though. Because this is a news story that you would read far and wide. You go to, let's say, a reputable church. I know sometimes these things can be. But you go to one that's on the up and up in terms of declaring money. And,
doing the right thing, helping people, sure, all that.
It's not your run-of-the-mill country bumpkin little, shack of a Baptist church. I mean, like, it's something that is going to have to report, and put money in the bank, and then it would become something on the 6 o'clock news that, wow, look at this. In the collection bin this week was $10,000, and it was found to be drug money. Like, I feel like that would be a perfect area to drop off a small bit of the cash to invest. A large enough amount of money that it would draw attention, and a large enough amount of money that if they deposited that into their bank account, the bank would say, what the hell? But the church would never be blamed, so therefore it would be reported.
Well, I certainly like where your head's at. I'm fortunate in this regard. I am very, very dear friends with somebody who once worked with FDLE and some other organizations, and literally their job was to uncover drug money that was being, quote-unquote, washed. So this person would have to sit through ungodly hours of stakeouts, watching one drug dealer deliver to another drug dealer, deliver to another drug dealer, deliver to another guy who's going to wash the money. They're going to, stow it away in computers or whatever they do. Like, they literally would find drugs that way. Didn't always end well for the people passing on.
Yeah, you've shared a story or two.
There's some amazing stories of guys that went into an apartment with a suitcase but never came out of the apartment, thus alerting my dear friend who was on the stakeout that something is awry. Jerry went in there today at noon. It's now midnight. Jerry has not come out. In fact, nobody's come out. This isn't good. So, but sometimes those guys were really careful to watch their back, and they would just sit up in an apartment for 12 hours, probably peeking out the window here and there to see if they're being watched. They'd wait 2 days before they'd go back out to the car, and my friend would go, "Oh, there's Jerry. Oh, he's not dead. All right." So they had to weigh, when to go in and when not to go in and all that, especially if they were hunting bigger fish. They don't need Jerry. Jerry's a nobody. They need where this is going to, and then from there to somewhere else. So this guy knows a lot of things about what police would be looking for, how that works, how successful money laundering occurs. I mean, I think I would place a call. The problem is this guy is in law enforcement, and he would tell me, "Jeff, turn the money in."
Right, but
he's ethical. The guy's the most ethical person I know. He literally would say, "Jeff, what are you doing? Turn the money in." So I'd be afraid I couldn't tell him.
Okay, well, so here's the question, though. Is it money laundering if it's found money? You didn't get it through illegal means. You found it on the side of the road in a black Glad trash bag.
Yeah, now I need to get it washed, though, probably, because I'm worried about it being traced. And he would say, "Why are you worried about that, Jeff? What, would you think there's something unethical going on with the millions of dollars that you have in your backseat?" "Yeah, perhaps you just answered your own question, sir." And I'd say, I didn't want a lesson on morals. Just tell me what to do with the money, man. You sit over there in judgment all you want later on. Maybe I'll make it easier on you. Maybe you need some house improvements. Maybe the wife has been asking you for some things, and I'll help you sleep easier at night by ensuring that deck is built next week. Whatever it might be.
This is a tough one. Because would you put that money in mass in your bank account? First of all, you couldn't put the whole thing. You couldn't put the whole thing. But could you put a certain percentage of the bills? Because what if the bills are being traced? What if the serial numbers are being traced?
Well, that's what I mean. That's why you got to
sequential. You got to see if they're sequential or not.
That's why you got to wash the money, man. We got to wash the money.
But it's not dirty money.
It's dirty money
from your perspective.
But it's drug money.
It's found money.
Surely it's drug money. Nobody's got $1 million in a trash bag except drug dealers. That's it. That's all.
Well, or crazy celebrities and athletes.
Yeah, but they don't drive down the road and drop it in the middle of a county.
Jim Irsay might. He's on all kinds of stuff. They found a bunch of cash in his car.
Yeah, he's in Indianapolis. You're right. Yeah. I don't know. But $1 million in a trash bag is a different deal than in a bank bag, in a deposit bag. That's a problem. That you're going to have to turn that in and hope they give you $100 because they're going to screw you. You're not going to get close to what you think you should get.
But what if it's like a knapsack or a bag, like a zipper pouch,
a knapsack.
Right? A bunch of these, but they're personalized. It doesn't say Regions
It just says
Bank.
Steve.
It just says, like, I love America.
Right.
Or, it's a Knowles logo.
Right.
My God.
Oh, this guy was a Knoll. Yeah, he lost $1 million. Sucks for him. Well, if he's just a booster, I don't care. Good. Then he's not a drug dealer. The money's really going to go a long way. I'm all right.
That's right. I can put this in my bank.
I'm going to put this under my bed for now. Or, but the problem is how uncomfortable would you be every night you went to bed with $1 million in your house? You're like, this probably isn't good. I mean, nobody would know, but it would eat at me. Every little sound outside, but what's that? Somebody coming to get their money. What's going on here?
No, it wouldn't eat at me because, if I've done the proper thing, which is check into the hotel, go to the suite, and take a look at the bills and examine them carefully. Right.
Yeah.
I'd be dead already, would be my first thought. If somebody was watching me take it from the road.
Right, then, they would have already gotten
my man with the bowl cut would have been here already.
He'd have popped my lock with that air gun. And
Hello, Thomas.
You're like, no.
Flip the coin.
Yeah.
Call it.
Yeah, that would be toughy.
So I'm okay. It's just, I don't know. I guess that means that I'll always be able to scalp the best tickets. I'll always be able to pay for food to go.
You'd always be able to do whatever you want to do. I mean,
big purchases. I don't know that it fortifies my ability to go get a house or go get a condo because you're not going to pay for that in cash.
You also don't want to draw that kind of attention, right?
Right. So I'm always able to get little things, like in perpetuity for the rest of my life.
But cool things, cool little things. For example, any gaming system that came out, top of the line day it came out. Give me the fully loaded one with extra memory. Bye-bye.
But would you go to the same store every time? Because then they'd know you as the guy who gets the latest system with cash every time.
Well, my man George Dial, Games for Less, would say, come on down. I'm not going to rat you out. We're going to be all right. George might be like, what's going on with you? Don't worry about it, George.
You know what would happen is the folks at Costco would start looking at you because you've tiled your entire living room with 80-inch televisions.
Well, in Ozark, they put it in the walls. And I remember thinking, oh, that's uncomfortable. It's a little bit like Telltale Heart in a way. I mean, you've got stuff in your walls. I know it's money, inanimate, right? But you'd still be like, that money's talking to me. It's talking to everybody that walks in here. There's a feel. People know something's in the wall.
Listen, Walter White had the right idea. Storage unit.
Yeah.
It's a storage unit.
Storage unit, yeah.
It's big. There's a ton of them.
Nobody's
They're
allowed
anonymous
to go
by
into it.
nature.
Yeah, you're right. And each month you would pay for your storage unit by walking to your storage unit and pulling out the requisite cash to hand to the guy and then lock back up your...
Now, you would be shifty storage unit guy because you check it over the shoulder.
I feel like every storage unit is housing something nefarious. Every time I've ever gone to a storage unit, when I married Christy, her family had a storage unit. Her dad stored all kinds of stuff that were passed on through the ages from the other family members that had passed on. And every time we went there, I was always like, this feels wrong. It just feels like we're here.
It's got that eerie silence to it.
It does. Man. And every time you're there, if you see anybody else, everybody looks at each other suspiciously like, why do you have a storage unit? Mm-hmm. What are you up to? You hiding a dead body in that storage unit? And it's weird because everybody does that. We all kind of look at each other at the storage unit like, it's just getting the armoire, man. I'm just getting
between houses.
Yeah, but it's tough. I got an apartment these days.
It's a 6-month deal, and then I'm moving on.
So final ribbon on this real quick. That family turned in the $1 million. The sheriff says he hopes that they get a reward, a prize, as he put it, for doing the right thing and setting the right example. Of course, they're not required to do that. By the way, inside of the bag, there were plastic baggies, and they were addressed with something that said Cash Vault.
Oh, my. Okay.
They contacted the Caroline County Sheriff's Office at that point. And so that I left that part of it out. I don't know that changes anything. Plastic baggies addressed Cash Vault.
I think that this story would have read exactly the same if it were me, right? Except they would have found $750,000.
I found $750,000. But if they knew it was $1 million, they'd be like knocking on your door going, hey, pal, come on. We know you had an extra $200,000.
That's all that was there,
That was what was there, sir. Do you think I would... You're accusing me of stealing? It'd be like me with the Pac-Man machine.
Yeah, how about it was $884,000? Sir, that's it. I mean,
somebody might have come
That's a very
along.
precise number, don't you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I think what we've determined here is the truth is, if you find a trash bag full of cash, you need to keep it. I mean, watch your back, but keep a trash bag full of cash. If it's in an official bank baggie, you got to turn it in.
If it's a trash bag full of cash, though, are you signing off the air the next day and you're moving? Like, are you going to live in the same town?
No, I'm going to stay status quo. I'm going to continue to go to work and do what I do.
Announce it's your final year. Maybe give yourself
perhaps a grand send-off of some sort. But I'm not going to tell everybody. I would tell you, though.
No pink Cadillac, right?
No. Although I want one. I just don't need the result to be the same.
Right.
I don't need to end up in a ice chest.
Get a pink QX80.
I could.
For enough money, that could be arranged.
Nissan Infinity. It could be. I would call you, though, and I'd be like, Tom, I got some amazing news. You need to come over here, though. I don't want to talk about this on the phone.
Even that's probably being surveilled these days.
Well, and you would be
just in general.
It would just be funny if I made that call and I were like, we can't talk about it on the phone. I'll see you when you get here. You'd have to hop in the car immediately. We all would, and then you'd be like, what am I going to see? What is Jeff going to show me? And that, in and of itself, whatever you're kicking around your brain as to what you think I'm about to show you, says something about me.
Well, I just let's smooth this over right now so we've got everything lined up the way it should be.
Okay.
It's a bottle of Macallan 35. Or it's a bottle of Lafroig 30, right? You've got to come over. I just scored a bottle of Lafroig 30.
Something like that.
And I think we would each get in the car for the other person if we landed thousands of dollars.
I'm already out the door.
A bottle of scotch.
You say something about a Lafroig 30, a Lafroig 50, a Macallan's 25 or so. I mean, I have a Macallan's 25. It's the Macallan's. What was the Macallan's I had out in Vegas? Was that a 50?
I wasn't there. I don't know.
Whatever it was a couple grand, and it was crazy. And I didn't pay for it, but somebody did, so I sure as hell drank it. And yeah, I remember thinking, oh, well, that's probably the greatest liquid that's ever been put in a glass.
But see, that's perfect because that's enough to draw us out of our domiciles to go to the other place. And you're like, listen, that's a little malarkey, but look at this.
So you thought I had a Macallan's 25.
Oh, I could buy 1 million of those now.
I've got $1 million in cash, Tom. Look at it. Oh, I'd be like the fat guy in Breaking Bad swimming around.
Hey, Bill Burr. They're laying next to each other.
Good old Bill Burr. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops with their Memorial Day sale happening May 22nd through the 25th. All Nike golf shoes are 25% off. Score an epic deal on Callaway's Epic Flash Driver, now only $349. Save big with the G400 driver, now only $249. Remember, the more you buy, the more you save, and receive up to 25% off all apparel. Edwin Watts Golf Shops Memorial Day sale happening May 22nd and May 25th. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee, serving golfers since 1968.
Hey guys, how are you? This is Eddie from Gordo's Restaurants and Bumpa's Local 349. I just want to let you guys know that we here in the local community love to have you back. It's 25%, we know, but we're doing the best that we can to serve you and do what we do the way we do it. Same great food, a little bit more space. And we're not the only ones. There's lots of local restaurants out there. Just remember, eat local, drink local, be local. Come see us.
AAA Tree Experts has been a Tallahassee staple for over 35 years. But did you know they now offer landscaping? AAA landscaping services include custom outdoor landscape, creative landscape design and architecture, hardscapes, waterscapes, retention walls, and French drains, irrigation and sodding, landscape and holiday lighting. Call them today for all your outdoor landscaping needs. 850-385-3319 or visit them online at AAA Experts.net. AAA Tree Experts and Landscaping.
Not all law firms are equal, so here's why Fonville Lewis Mesher McConaughey was recently voted Tallahassee's best law firm. First, we only take real cases. If your car was barely bumped and you think you're going to get rich, we're not the firm for you. We limit our practice to serious cases with legitimate claims. Second, we only take cases involving real injuries. If you know you aren't hurt but think you can fool your way into a quick settlement, we're not the firm for you. We encourage our clients to heal up and get better, not sit on the couch and expect a windfall. Third, we don't want clients who are just in it for the money. If the very first thing you think of after getting hurt is calling pound something or other on your cell phone instead of calling 911, we're not the firm for you. Your health should always come first. And finally, we won't blow smoke about a big money outcome just to get your case. Other firms overpromise and underdeliver. Our only promise is that we'll work harder than anyone to get you the best result. Remember, the law firm you have representing you makes all the difference, so don't settle for less. Call Fonville Lewis Mesher McConaughey and let us put our reputation to work for you.
Oh, oh, oh,
O'Reilly. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, pick up 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for $28.95 and get a $10 O'Reilly gift card by mail. Protect your engine from sludge and wear with Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, TSparkConstruction.com.
Planning on expanding or renovating your home or business? Did you know that these construction projects start with preliminary work such as professional sets of drawings and proper engineering? Before you apply for financing or sign a lease agreement, allow our team of contractors, architects, and engineers to assist you with planning and budgeting. Hello, I'm Travis, owner of T-Spark Enterprises, and I am here because we want your project to launch on the right foot. Call us today and we will take care of your construction needs. We aim to provide work that will exceed your expectations, guaranteeing picture-perfect results.
Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, TSparkConstruction.com.
License number CGC 1525336.
Escúchame, it is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Let me tell you, I feel badly for Larry Jordan. First of all, your brother's Michael Jordan. Second of all, your name's Larry. Like, there aren't very many names, Stugotz, that I could give you. Larry Jordan has appeared for like 7 seconds in this documentary, and I'm sure they talked to him for hours, but that's what it's like, being Larry Jordan.
His entire life.
It's got to be terrible, right? I mean, I guess it's great if you got a good relationship with your brother.
Did Jordan have anything nice to say about Larry Jordan?
I didn't hear anything nice about Larry Jordan. I was just surprised Larry Jordan got dressed up, did the interview. I'm sure spent a lot of time talking to them, and then they used 2 very short clips that merely allowed me to look at him and say, man, it must stink to be Michael Jordan's brother and be named Larry.
The Dan Le Batard Show, weekdays at 10 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Broadcasting live from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios in Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
My boys from Front Row Knowles going to be occupying the airwaves here shortly, right? All right. Stay tuned for that. That'll be good as we wrap it up. I segue on into another Sterling edition of Front Row Knowles. It'll be good. It always is. I look forward to it. I listen to it when I'm getting set to go do the golf show.
They have been consummate professionals, big surprise, at finding ways to get things recorded, because for their safety and for ours, that's not
coming in here, buddy.
Maybe sometime in the near future we might be able to turn around and do that. But yeah, they found a way every single week, and that is to their credit.
Well, we'll conclude the show with this. That's A, good news. B, there's this. I'm on my archaeology kick again here to conclude the evening. Always fun to throw these nuggets out there. By the way, Tom, I'll have you look at this.
Hubie Brown was discovered
alive calling games from 82 in his living room. He's just staying warm, ready to go. Check this out, Tom. How well preserved is this tooth? Huh? Look at that.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it looks like a tooth that you could have seen extracted from somebody down the street just a day ago. It's that fresh and well put together.
Wanted some money from the tooth fairy.
As tooths go. Okay, well, that was found, and here's why it's significant. First of all, I love this stuff. I don't know that I would go into this particular cave in Bulgaria where this tooth was found, because they had to go way back. The archaeologists had to go way back into this cave, into places they had not discovered yet. Dark, narrow passages, deep underground. Not my cup of tea. And you know I love this sort of thing. I love the findings. I love the process, I think, typically of uncovering fossils. But when you get me underground, mining territory, stuff like that, where things fall and you could drown or be smothered in some cases, by the earth.
Yeah, back in January, which feels like 3 years ago, I did the cenotes tour in Mexico, which is awesome. But you cannot touch the stalactites because they're lethal. So you got to be careful and dodge them because they kind of touch the water as you swim around this area. And it had only been discovered and commercialized in the last year or so. And you go, I don't know, about a football field into it after you go down.
Yeah.
So you can't see the stairs or anything. That's enough. That was plenty.
You were feeling like, okay, that's I've had enough.
Let alone narrow passages in Bulgaria that who knows how many thousands of yards it is into this cave.
One of the oldest pieces of evidence of Homo sapiens found in Europe. It was dated now back 44,000 to 46,000 years ago. This belonged to a early modern human. It is a molar, in fact, that this person lost, and I hate to think of the way that they lost it, because if it came out of their mouth before they passed, it had to have been excruciating, given there was no way to numb the pain back then. That's a toughie. An international team of archaeologists were the ones to find it amongst human remains, stone and bone tools, as well as pendants and cave bear teeth. They went in after the bears, Tommy. You had to be bold back then. Had to be bold to survive.
You got your torch. The next thing you know, you make a quick turn around the corner, and there's two bear eyes staring right at you.
Got to take them down. Hopefully they're sleeping. It was in Bulgaria's labyrinthian Bakokiro cave. That's what it's called.
Maze-like.
Yes. This much older than anything else that we have ever found so far from modern humans in Europe, said Jean-Jacques Houblin, who is a paleoanthropologist at the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology in Germany. He led the team. All right, lead on, Jacques-Jean. The molar is the largest surviving bone fragment from a group of very early Homo sapiens dating back to about 46,000 years ago. They push back the earliest confirmed arrival of Homo sapiens in Europe and show they shared the land for thousands of years with heavily built Neanderthals. Now we know. More and more, they were mixing, Tom.
Neanderthals were not nearly as stupid as we thought they were.
Not nearly as stupid. And they were big and mean. Battle-tested. Homo sapiens must have been very intimidated.
But they had the arts, and they had communal social gatherings.
They also found in this archaeological hunt distinctive tools and personal ornaments, to your point. These show new ways of using stone, bone, and antler that became common amongst Homo sapiens many thousands of years later. Similar items made by Neanderthals have been found elsewhere, but the new finds indicate those adopted the new ways of making them from Homo sapiens. So, the lesser of the species at the time, as we were transitioning, picked up on what the new version of the species was doing once they encountered it and said, oh, well, we'll adopt. Adopt and survive. You must, and or adapt and survive. Evidence from other sites suggests the people at Bakokiro Cave were part of a pioneer wave of Homo sapiens that entered southern and central Europe up to 47,000 years ago. They came southwest, did they, Tom, from Asia. Their arrival was up 8,000 years earlier than the wave of Homo sapiens that eventually spread across all of Western Europe and replaced the last of the Neanderthals about 39,000 years ago. So, those Homo sapiens replaced the other groups of early humans, the Denisovans, who had populated much of Asia at around that time, got replaced as well. It is, quote, one of the most important periods of human evolution. This is when hominins like Neanderthals and Denisovans were replaced by modern humans.
Dennis the Menace. Got it.
So, the bones are artifacts that were found, carefully dated. They used radiocarbon analysis, which measures how their carbon isotopes decay, gave them vital information from previous excavations that they had done. And again, this is way before they thought early human beings had ever found their way into Europe.
So was there evidence that the Homo sapiens and the Neanderthals were fighting or actually, commiserating?
Looks like they worked alongside one another in some way. Yeah. Also furthering the proof that they were smarter than popular accounts suggest. It seems they didn't invent Bakokirian tools and ornaments on their own, but that they learned from those they were encountering. And so a guess here is that it was presumably imitation or observation. So that's how they did this. And we don't know, though, that if they were capable of copying new technology, were they able to survive longer than we thought they did? Like that they weren't so summarily dismissed by Homo sapiens. Of course, we outsmart them and say, surround that dumbass that lives in the cave down the way here. Tell him we're going to lunch. He'll buy it. And,
or did we just extract all of their information, outnumber them, and
kill them? We're good at that.
Borg style. Yeah.
So, pretty cool. Homo sapiens were in Europe quite a bit before they thought they were previous. So we're learning more and more.
What will we know tomorrow? Because we don't even know that today. That's not complete information. 6 months from now, 3 years from now, we'll know that. Well, these were like the last people to arrive.
So the hardest thing now is they're saying, well, here's what we don't know. Did they die out even though they were capable of copying the technologies? A lot of the studies that I've read say that this just turned out to be a problem with breeding. They were not producing children at the rate necessary. They had
their children of men moments.
The fertility issues, indeed. So that's kind of how that happened. Good work out of you, sir. Again, Front Row Knowles up next. Really good show. You were going to say?
What if Children of Men is actually just the story of Neanderthals?
Yeah.
And outside the clouds are the Homo sapiens.
Great movie.
Michael Caine would be my favorite Neanderthal then.
Enjoy the show up next. It's called Front Row Knowles, and it's good. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Be well.
When a John got jabbed by Jezebel, you can't beat the house. You can't beat the house.
AAA Tree Experts in Landscaping remind you to prepare your property for hurricane season. If you have trees on your property, it is crucial to have them inspected before a major hurricane. Contact AAA Tree Experts in Landscaping today, 385-3319, that's 385-3319, or online at AAATreeExperts.net, AAATreeExperts.net.
Tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops with their Memorial Day sale happening May 22nd through the 25th. All Nike golf shoes are 25% off. Score an epic deal on Callaway's Epic Flash Driver, now only $349. Save big with the G400 driver, now only $249. Remember, the more you buy, the more you save, and receive up to 25% off all apparel. Edwin Watts Golf Shops Memorial Day sale happening May 22nd to May 25th. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day 100% satisfaction guarantee, serving golfers since 1968.
With a Bojangles 3-piece chicken supreme snack, you get a plate of bold, boneless chicken and a hot, fluffy, made-from-scratch biscuit for just $3.99. Or, if you'd rather 2 pieces of bone-in fried chicken with a biscuit and a fixin', don't you worry, because that's $3.99 too. It's such a good deal, you can knock out dinner and balance your budget in one fell swoop. Because if you're going to take out 2 birds with 1 stone, they ought to be delicious. Bojangles. It's bow time.
Who's ready for the best wings in Tally and locally brewed beers? Hobbit American Grill is the place to be. They've been voted Tally's best wings again in 2018. Hobbit offers Bingo Mondays, happy hour all day Fridays with craft beers on tap from all the local breweries. And the Hobbit is your home for all the UFC fights with plenty of high-def TVs for everyone. Be on the lookout for the food truck coming soon with the best lip-smacking wings in town. Hobbit American Grill, celebrating 40 years of serving great food to great friends for good times. For info on their hours and 3 locations, visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
If you're a pro who manages properties or replaces appliances regularly, it helps to have a go-to resource like Lowe's. We have the brands pros have trusted for years. Solid names like Maytag, Whirlpool, and GE, all easily ordered on lowesforpros.com, and all quickly delivered to the job site with free delivery 7 days a week. Even better, you can get up to 40% off select appliances during our appliance savings event. Whatever you need today, or any day, Lowe's is pro-ready. Offers valid through 6/3. Free local delivery applies to appliances $299 or more. U.S. only.
The Florida Lottery has awarded nearly 900,000 Bright Future scholarships and counting. That means Bright Future scholars are everywhere.
They are doctors,
Teachers.
Scientists.
Even artists.
They are shining in every field imaginable. And every day, more students are preparing for their moment in the spotlight. With Bright Futures and the Florida Lottery.
AAA Tree Experts has been a Tallahassee staple for over 35 years. But did you know they now offer landscaping? AAA landscaping services include custom outdoor landscape, creative landscape design and architecture, hardscapes, waterscapes, retention walls, and French drains, irrigation and sodding, landscape and holiday lighting. Call them today for all your outdoor landscaping needs. 850-385-3319 or visit them online at AAATreeExperts.net. AAA Tree Experts and Landscaping.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
So this is how it happens, all right? It's a celebrity poker tournament, and if you thought to yourself that John Hamm enters a chat room with Hambone in the house, you'd be correct. I show up at the table. Cards are being dealt, but there's only one person betting. So what's happening is, as this moves around the table and everyone's time runs out, Stugotz just keeps getting the money. Every time he bets, the money comes from Stugotz. So he's slowly bleeding people who are having trouble getting in the room. And I'm on the Skype, and I'm watching these people, and they're saying, I'm trying to get in, I can't get in. And I'm yelling at Stugotz in the chat room, Stugotz, stop taking everybody's money. We don't know these people. And Stugotz's chip total ended up at 12,000 before the thing even got started, while everyone else was starting at 8,000 because he'd stolen so much of their money. And he still finished last.
The Dan Le Batard Show, weekdays at 10 a.m. on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Driving every day from the Tallahassee Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Studios, this is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee. Broadcasting live from the Prime Meridian Bank Studios in the capital city of Tallahassee, this is Front Row Knowles with Tom Block and Keith Jones. Front Row Knowles is brought to you by Cornerstone Tool and Fastener, online at ctf.nu. Now, here's Tom and Keith.
Good day, everybody. Tom and KJ back with you. This is Front Row Knowles. And it sounds, Keith, as I say hello, like maybe we're moving closer to actual football and sports to talk about.
Dare I say it, Tommy? Dare I say it? They're back.